No. All right. YouTube is indeed receiving this excellent show and is ready for episode 200. I am ready. I know all these guys are. Welcome, everyone, to yet another edition of the 4GwQPodcast podcast. This is indeed episode 200, March 7th, 2019. I'm one of the hostess with the mostest. I probably shouldn't say that, but I will. In front of 217. We have also with us.
Okay, we don't judge, man. We don't judge anymore.
That voice right there was a gentleman who, no joke, when we were thinking about who to ask to be on this 200th episode, I was just like, I'm just going to ask Xbot and let's get this thing done, because let's not beat around the bush. Let's just get this guy on. That is the Xbot 448. What's going on, man? Glad to have you back.
Yo, what is going on, everybody? What is up, chat? 200th episode, and brother, I was saying this off the air, man. I don't know what I did, but it is such a great honor. It feels like your biggest shows, somehow, some way, I make it onto the panel, man. And I cannot thank you guys enough. This is a monumental day. Everybody in the chat, what you need to do right now, you need to hit the thumbs up. You need to share this out on Twitter, Facebook, wherever you talk games. We have to get a huge crowd in for tonight's show.
Absolutely. We do always seem to have you on some of the biggest shows, man. I think you've been on probably like 4 times at this point, and every time you're on, there's something major is happening, and we want to continue that trend tonight. And when the time comes, if we can get another big Halo personality on, we'll definitely get you on for sure again, no doubt. So really glad you were able to make it tonight, especially on kind of short notice. I know I asked you kind of late, but it's all good. It's all good. The good ones fill it.
Brother, you know the deal, man. If you put up the bot symbol, the bot signal, I'm gonna come when I can, and it was perfect night. I got the day off from work, and I'm good to go, man. I can't wait to talk some maybe Switch VR going on.
Absolutely. We'll get into that for sure a little later in the show. We're gonna start off, I think, with the Xbox One S. All digital edition, of course. We'll also talk about, some of the Xbox Game Pass news. Just Cause 4 coming within the first 3-4 months of its release. Is that a good sign or a bad sign? We'll get into all the indications there. And of course, we'll talk about the disaster that is the Anthem bandwagon here, where it just seems like negative press left and right.
There's nothing to see here, people. Nothing to see here.
Some apologists want to dismiss it, but we'll get into right now. I'm going to introduce a man who's made it to 200 straight episodes on this program, and he is probably the biggest Anthem apologist / fan I've ever met. And we're glad to have him on again, of course. One of the core members of the panel who's been here through its entire existence, past 5 years. ZBC Assassin, what's going on,
man? 200 episodes must be some world record here, because you guys are slacking. Just saying.
Wow.
Wow.
Was that his intro for this
No,
episode?
that was not my intro, but I'm just saying, 200 episodes. I was here for all of them, and you guys are slackers.
Dude, I had a nice little spree going. I had a nice little spree. I might have been to like 89 or 90 something straight episodes, and I missed. And then, Clowns has to miss here and there, but he makes it pretty consistently too. It's really that fourth slot of people that we've had in that have just, not necessarily been inconsistent, but just couldn't hold on to the ropes. But of course, we appreciate all of them. Some of them, left because of family obligations, and some of them, just had to leave, if you know what I mean. But we won't get into that too much.
See, people don't know this, but technically, I am the fourth guy with a quarter. But we can't really say that, because in all actuality, I am indeed a bot. So I can't be considered a guy. I'm just a bot. So I can't be the fourth guy. But if I could be, I would be the fourth guy, because I already have my quarter.
Perfect. Yeah, I mean, if we're talking about guests that have been on the show, I mean, I think, Clowns, am I wrong? I think Xbox is probably leading the pack.
Yeah, I want to say so. I definitely think that is the case. In fact, and he's going to be back when we get Master Chief back on too.
Absolutely.
Oh, shoot.
So now that was a poor introduction.
Man, the myth, the legend.
That was a poor introduction, but that was Clowns that you just heard. What's going on, Clowns?
Yo, what's up, my paisans on the internet? Let's eat calzones and pizza tonight and celebrate.
Absolutely. Let's get into these topics, though. We got a nice loaded show going on for tonight. I know it's kind of, I don't know, light on news recently, but some juicy stuff coming out, and some of the actually juicier stuff came out too late for me to produce for this show, but we'll definitely talk about it during the week, and we'll talk about it on next podcast coming up next week on episode 201. But
you just got me real excited for a second.
Talking about it on the next podcast, the one that Xbot does? Is that what we're talking about? I'm sure he'll be talking about it.
You know I've been bugging you in the DMs, man. You got to join us one night.
Let's get it done, dude. Let's get it done. Saturdays, I think Saturdays really suck. Unlike you on Thursdays or this particular Thursday, Saturday just sucks for me, man.
Yeah, well, I know, but we gotta be like Moses and part that calendar real quick. Exactly. Saturday in there, man.
Gotta flip open the calendar, the little trapper keeper, and circle one of those dates. But we are now, we've always been, or not always been, but we've been for a while, a Inner Circle Network affiliate. And of course, we'd like to thank them for bringing us on and bringing us together with a couple of the good podcasts. But also, Xbot recently announced on his next podcast that they are now an affiliate as well. So Xbot, of course, is going to bring that intensity to the program that it needs. So we appreciate everybody over there that's been spreading the word. They did a nice little spotlight for us today on their website. You can see a link to the Inner Circle Games Network below in the chat. And a lot of the topics that we're talking about tonight actually have some news articles, little write-ups over there from some of their editors and stuff on that site. So go check that out. For your enjoyment. Good stuff over there.
Yeah,
Good
not
stuff.
only that, did you make that Inner Circle affiliate graphic right there? Because that is really nice, man.
Did I make the graph? I didn't make the center thing. The center. Well, you have the center thing, so you know I didn't make that. But all the rest of it, I did. Yeah.
The whole coin thing with the digital background, all that good stuff.
Yeah, I made that.
Dude, see, man, and you're a modest guy, but when it comes down to it, graphics and production, dude, you actually, 4Guys inspired Next Podcast to do what we do on our show, and you got to take your hats off to the man who basically started it all when it comes to production value and everything like that. My brother Inferno right here.
Appreciate it, man. Appreciate it. Yeah, I mean, I remember when you started Next and you kind of were talking to me and hit me up being like, what do you think? What do you like about, you like the production value? You like the gameplay during the thing? And I saw the gameplay. I'm like, dude, that is something I'm definitely jealous of, but obviously I'm not going to copy that off. But that is a nice feature of Next, and I love the polls that go up, and everybody can vote for their favorite gameplay video and stuff. That's a nice little nice feature that we didn't have that definitely one-upped us. So, but I appreciate you saying that we inspired you. I know a lot of people have said that recently, and I am a modest guy, but I appreciate the love there in terms of the production value. All right, so let's get into the first topic. I know Assassin is really, really itching to get into this one.
I think they make a cream for that too, by the way, Assassin.
Maybe.
Just saying.
Maybe. So this first topic is about an article that was featured on Windows Central recently about the Xbox Maverick, which we've known about for a little while, obviously. Leaks about that have come out, and no one really knows about the price. No one knows about the details about the storage and all that. But a few more details have come out in terms of when pre-orders are going to go live. Apparently, pre-orders are happening next month, which is pretty soon. And the thing's going to be coming out, I guess, in May. It's going to be called the Xbox One S All Digital Edition, which, of course, Twitter took no time to come up with the Xbox One SAT Edition, which... that's kind of lame. I mean, you can do better than that. That's kind of lame. But what do you guys think of this? I mean, we talked about this before, and I joked saying that it's Assassin's favorite topic, because Assassin was probably the only one on the program at the time saying he wasn't really interested. But the details are coming. It's coming, really soon. You think maybe it's too soon? What do you guys think about the news that's just come out?
Go ahead.
Yeah, I think personally, I'm not going to jump the gun until I see the price point on this. I feel like when you look at how digital games and digital game purchases, how they've grown throughout the generation, some company, whether it was, Xbox, whether it was PlayStation or Nintendo, somebody was going to do something all digital at some point in time. And, I kind of figured it would be Xbox. The only thing, and I know you said this is a reach, but the whole Xbox One S all digital, the whole like sad thing, I gotta ask, what is going on with marketing at Xbox, man? It just seems like they have a tendency to shoot themselves in the foot. Now, I know you said it's a reach.
Well, I don't necessarily think it's a reach. I think it's like, obviously, it makes sense for people to coin it that, but I mean, would people be coining it that if Microsoft was the dominant console right now? Probably not. They wouldn't even make that connection. You know what I mean? It's just, it's not a reach because like it makes sense just looking at the way it's named, but at the same time, like, what are you going to go there for? You know what I mean? What are you going to go there? You're probably going to see the price and be blown away.
Here's the deal. If the scrutiny has been on your company and on your product this whole generation, you would think twice before naming a new product. They could have dropped the S and just been like Xbox One all digital. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, but then what would people be saying is, oh, is this an Xbox One all digital edition that has like X graphics, or because the details on this thing aren't out. Obviously, they're calling it 1S now, so but if they didn't call it that, then people would be speculating, oh, is this thing a 4K box, or is this thing based on old hardware, and there'd be speculation based on that. So,
all right, well, see, I don't get paid the same amount of money that the people over at Xbox marketing get paid. But I'm pretty sure since they make such hefty checks that they could think about it and possibly come up with something better. That's all I got to say, man. I
got a name. The Xbox Donnie D edition.
Donnie D. You don't like physical discs? We got a console for you.
Yep. All right, Clowns, you want to get on this. Go ahead and take the floor on it. Are you excited that it's coming so soon? Do you think it's a bad move? Do you think it's worrisome that it's coming so soon? I know a lot of people are kind of saying, is it coming so soon because they know it won't sell up against, what's coming in the future. They're kind of naysayers on this. What are your feelings on it, Clowns, after the new information?
Well, I'm really excited about it, to be honest with you. If you recall, like probably around episode 80 something, I said that Xbox should make a discless version, take out the disk drive, and at least drop it $50. But I think in today's market, we're probably going to want to see that drop at least 100 or more before people really get into it. Especially with the way that prices are driving down right now. So I think it's going to do well as long as it's priced right. And then it's perfect to get us over to the next gen, because once next gen comes out, that thing's going to take an even further dive in price, bring in more casuals in that haven't experimented yet with the Xbox ecosystem.
Clowns, that's a great point, because if you look at it, when it first comes out, people who adopt it, they adopt it. And Microsoft, they like to look at numbers. But when the next gen comes out and they drop in price, it not only is it going to be there for the console gamers, but it'll be right there as a cheaper competitor to like Apple TV and Roku and those type of things as well. Because you look at all the apps that you have on your Xbox, you know what I'm saying? People can use that all digital system for multiple kind of like entertainment shows, apps, stuff like that as well.
Okay, that's interesting.
Absolutely.
That's interesting.
Absolutely.
That's interesting because I feel like one of the things that, I don't necessarily, you can't quote me on this, I don't necessarily think Phil has ever come out and explicitly said this, but I think the understanding in the room and in the industry is that Microsoft essentially regrets advertising the Xbox out of the gate as an entertainment box, and now you think with this they're going to go back to that mantra and be like, see, this...
I'm not saying they're going to market it as such, or I'm not saying that they're going to put, a bunch of their money into marketing for it. Okay. But especially when you come out with like, the Anaconda and everything, and you're showing the games on the new next gen system, then you can kind of split off your marketing when it comes to the all digital console and kind of widen, broaden its horizons and let people know that, it's more than just games, and you can basically have that all-in-one box that plays even more games than, you know, what the Apple TV would play or anything like that as well.
Right. And if you think of the Apple TV, I mean, I have an Apple TV 4K box. I got it for a pretty good deal because
figures, Inferno. It figures, man.
Dude, I'm not really an Apple guy, actually. You know, honestly, like I have an iPhone 7 for work. You know, I'm not a huge Apple guy, but I do have an Apple TV at my main TV because, you know, the 4K prices for movies on there is just they're very good. I mean, they don't charge like any more than $20 for a movie. So, and you know, it works extremely well. It works extremely well. And if they can get this thing out for cheaper than that box, because that box is like $180. I mean, I didn't pay that, but I got a better deal through DirecTV Now and blah blah blah. I don't want to go down that road, but let's just say I manipulated the deal because they were stacking promo codes with a introductory offer that they didn't know about. But let's shush on that. But anyway, I sound like clowns over here. Jeez, clowns.
Hey, as long as it was allowed, man. That's all we got to say.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, you can be excited about Apple TV. There's nothing wrong with that. I mean, the newest iOS just got hacked again, so it's even better.
There we go. Get my information stolen. I actually did. I've only had an iPhone for like a year, and I've actually already had my account compromised. So there's that.
Well, no, I mean, it's been tetherless root, I think.
Oh, okay. Now you're talking. Hit me up after the show. But
oh
no. But you know, if they can get this thing under that amount of money and it does it just as well, or maybe a little bit worse, but plays, you know, high fidelity games, especially with, you know, the xCloud coming down the road, you know, maybe it is smart to not necessarily, like you say, market it wholeheartedly like they did before, but, you know, throw that in as a side, like, oh, yeah, look what else I can do.
All the major gamers, when it comes down to it, and this is, I'm going right off what Clown said, because I believe Clown's like kind of set it off perfectly. When the new hardware comes out, you know, all the hardcore gamers, the console gamers will definitely be looking in that direction. So while they're looking in that direction, you can find a broader kind of like consumer base for the all digital. Let them know that, you know, it's more like a Apple TV or whatever, that you can use it for what you want to use it for. And as long as they keep that marketing with that piece of hardware, because all the gamers are going to be looking at the new hotness over here, I think that could work, man.
Yeah,
absolutely. And, you know, also, like, if they were to market this properly, even if they did like a month free of Hulu, a month free of Netflix, or even like 2 or 3 months of Game Pass, it would sell this thing right off the shelves.
Yeah, good point. I wonder what kinds of partnerships they can make to kind of push this, because I remember, you know, even as recently as when the 1S came out, right, they had their own versions of stuff, like they had Groove Music, you know, they were pushing their movies really hardcore, and since then they've kind of subsided on that and kind of made a few partnerships here and there, you know, with Movies Anywhere. They joined Movies Anywhere, so you don't necessarily have to buy it directly from Microsoft in order to get the movie on your on your Xbox, or with, you know, Spotify app coming to the Xbox. So I think, you know, more than anything nowadays, even in the entertainment front, I think Microsoft has shown that they are more committed to, you know, doing what's right for the consumer instead of trying to get into this space when they don't belong. You know what I mean? So, you know, maybe they bring in those high-end partnerships. Maybe they offer a little teaser deal like that. And
well, at the end of the day, with Microsoft and Xbox, it's about active users. And if they can show that there is a substantial number of people using, you know, Movies Anywhere, using Spotify on the Xbox platform, I mean, that only caters to them and their kind of like business, you know, their business with Spotify, or, you know, with Movies Anywhere, and it'll help that grow between the two companies, you know?
Real quick, let me go to the YouTube chat. Stuff's flying in there. I appreciate you guys coming in and showing up for an important episode for us. Supersonic Station says, better have one hell of a hard drive. Know they're testing the waters, but useless. Who's gonna, unless it's $90, who's gonna buy it? $90, I think. We'll get into our prediction on pricing in just a minute, but I think that's a little too cheap. I don't know if they can get away with selling it for $90. Probably take a huge loss.
Well,
on
Supersonic has been extra cheery lately, and I am being sarcastic. You know what I'm saying?
Well, he was, you know, he was pretty cheery the other night on on CCC when he was calling up, some GameStops. Did you hear about this, Clowns? Did I tell you about this?
No,
I was watching CCC, and Mel was talking, and all of a sudden, Supersonic Station's on there, and he all of a sudden is like, dude, I want to prank call, like, what GameStops are open, I want to prank call a GameStop, like, live on the podcast. And so of course I went to Google, I give him a number for a GameStop in the Los Angeles area that was still open because it's on the West Coast, and he pranks calls him. Oh my god. And the guy wasn't getting that it was a prank call. Like, the guy was answering all his questions like it was a real call, and he's like,
yeah, that was a great show.
That was great. Yeah, that was funny. What else? Let me see what else is in the chat here. Shizno Elite said if they had made a digital only X, I would be interested. So I think that's essentially the sentiment for a lot of people. I think a digital only X is more attractive at the moment, but maybe once xCloud is demonstrated, that won't really matter. What do you guys think about that?
I don't think they want to jump the gun when it comes to an X with no disc or whatever. What I think they're doing, it's a typical Microsoft thing. They're putting something out there to see the numbers on that and to see if they're gonna push forward quicker with kind of like the all digital type systems, or if they are gonna lay back. And I think part of this is deciding whether or not they're gonna have a disk drive in like the Anaconda, the new series of hardware coming out as well. I think they're going to look at the numbers and see if they can actually pull that off.
Definitely. I think, this is an inexpensive, well, quote unquote inexpensive way to test the market on this. So, yeah, I mean, that would be a disaster if they had made a lot of both SKUs. Like, say they had a digital only X and a digital only S. Not that they would do that, or let's say they picked the X first and then, they charged a little too much money for somebody to go all digital or what have you. That would have been a disaster.
Actually, if I can, so somebody in the chat,
please.
The Geeky Nerd said that's got to be like decided by now. No. And in all actuality, no, it doesn't, because the manufacturer's line is not running right now. They have kind of like they could have developed two different systems, one without a disc tray, one with a disc tray, and they're just deciding, which one are they going to put on the manufacturer's line. Mm-hmm. So they could be looking at these numbers and actually decide that later on, because they already designed one with and one without.
Right. Yeah, it's a good point, because I'm pretty sure that they have, they've been thinking, obviously, this xCloud thing, and obviously the infamous discless consoles have been talked about for such a long time. I feel like they probably have working prototypes of multiple variations that they can just push right now anyway.
I mean, I know one way they could sell this thing. Imagine if they just slapped a sticker on it that said, buy the discless S-Box and you get xCloud beta instant. Like, like an instant sign-up link. Imagine if they did that.
Mm.
That would sell it.
Well, I know you would buy it, Clowns, then.
I might buy like 10.
I got 10 codes to give away on 4Guy.
Yep.
Oh, man. Okay, so people are saying $99 to $150. I mean, I think maybe they can get down to $150, but we'll get into that in a second. Let's get Assassin's general thoughts on this, because I don't think he's really had a chance to put all of his
and I know he wants to chime in right now.
Dude, he's over there, his blood is boiling, he's like ready to get in on this topic. I know
he's got fast internet, so 4K is gonna be perfect for him.
Fast internet. They don't even sell my internet speed anymore over here. That's how fast or slow, I mean, I should say.
So what do you think, man? You depending on the price, I feel like you're still not in on this because it doesn't really apply to you, but do you think that maybe this is like too soon, or you think this is the right timing for it? You think this is going to be popular? What are your thoughts after hearing, and seeing what was described on Windows Central?
I don't think it's too soon. I think wasn't there rumors years ago that there was going to be a discless Xbox, mm-hmm. and I think my stance still stays on that. I don't want one. I love my 4K movies on disc, so like that, no disc drive would, hurt me. I'm just curious on how GameStop will react, because obviously they probably won't sell this thing, but will they sell like a pre-owned version of it? Will they not?
Dude, haven't you heard the news? You no longer have to worry about GameStop.
Yeah.
Well, GameStop, I mean, still is around, so you still got
I know, but
Yeah.
Blockbuster was still around when they had like 3 or 4 left and everything. But I mean,
yeah,
they
but
weren't relevant.
there's still one left. I mean, it's a Blockbuster Battle Royale.
Yeah,
people
but
say.
they're closing down. They're ending.
Well, they still exist. So as
They got-
far as
you got,
right
like,
now,
Less than a
they
month,
still exist.
and they're done.
Well, as March 7th, they still
I mean,
exist. So I'm
technically
bringing
the
it up.
Backstreet Boys still exist, but they don't make albums. So I mean,
That's a good one.
yeah, I caught him. That's it. I'm done. My job here is done.
There you go. That's the thing. GameStop is just not the force they used to be. So maybe in the past they've kind of been ready to push this kind of thing. Obviously, I think digital adoption at this point in time is higher than ever. I mean, I think that goes without saying, and you don't really need a brain necessarily to see that that's the trend that we're going in. But even still, I think maybe there were enough digital sales in the past to kind of justify making one of these things, but maybe they were afraid of their retail partners pulling out, whereas Amazon will never pull out, Best Buy will never pull out of selling Microsoft stuff no matter what they do. I don't think there's been a precedent set for that, but of course
Hold on. Can we have a moment
please.
of silence? I hope Best Buy goes away. A moment of silence for that. Praying. Hold on. I'm praying. Okay, I'm done.
It was
Why
a
do you
very
want Best Buy
short
to go
moment
away?
of silence.
Go away.
You know what? I just don't like them. Every time I go there, there's like 300 employees that follow you around. Can I help you? Can I help you? Oh, can I help you? Oh, you need anything? Can I help you? Can I help? I'm by the
Yeah,
soda
but it's
machines.
just Florida. You go to
But
a
I'm by the
normal
soda
state.
machine getting
Yeah.
like
Go to a
20 ounce
normal
Coke
state.
out, and they're like, "Can I help you?" Well, when I lived in Pennsylvania, they were the same way, like in Philadelphia.
Okay, we said normal state. Okay.
Oh damn.
Oh, he lives in South Canada, so.
Well, you live in North Cuba, so
Assassin, that is probably the best comeback I have ever heard from you, man. That's it. No longer. Clowns no longer lives in Florida. He lives in North Cuba from now on.
I'm not that close to Miami. I'm like 5 hours from Miami, so
okay,
maybe 5 hours
It's gonna be
from
all
Cuba.
underwater anyways in a few years.
That is true. It is sinking. I can't deny that.
So you basically live in Atlantis.
Wow.
Atlantis.
Yeah, it's the underwater, city thing.
Yeah, Atlantis. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I hear that. I know what you're talking
Don't-
about, Assassin.
I think what Assassin's trying to say is sign that Daz petition. Thank you.
No, that petition is stupid.
There's a
Hold on,
discussion.
where do I sign? I'm gonna sign while I'm on.
Daz
okay?
actually, he just posted that, posted the link in the chat right there. So there's a discussion in the chat whether Best Buy is good or not after Clowns' moment of silence, so to speak.
I don't know why he wants to get rid of them though.
Dude, I like Best Buy. Yeah, I like Best Buy.
Dude,
That's why.
one place to actually go check out like all types of new hardware, whether it's like computers, TV, washer, dryer, like everything it's all there. I mean, I'm down with Best Buy. I don't want it to go anywhere.
Okay,
Well,
Megan.
I like Micro Center, but
Oh,
you don't have any of those over
I
here.
love Micro Center. Oh my god, yes, excellent. Micro Center though, well, I guess they have a lot of TVs and stuff, but oh my god, their computer parts, like you can get lost in there for days, honestly. K Mega says in the chat, he enjoys Best Buy. Not a fan of Office Depot, dude. I haven't seen an Office Depot in ages. Honestly.
You
Wisconsin.
can get the dual layer discs there a lot of times cheap at Office Depot because they can never sell them.
In Boston area, they just wiped all those out. Like, there's no Office Depot. I haven't seen Office Depot or Office Max in ages, dude. Honestly, it's like the Chupacabra at this point.
So it's gonna sneak up in the middle of the night and suck your blood. Then is what you're trying to say.
Exactly.
Gotcha.
Crazy Greek dude says guys in Micro Center equal women at the mall. I would tend to agree with that. All right, Assassin, go on. You had more to say on this, or?
No, that was it.
Oh, okay. All right. Now let's get to price. Before we get off this topic. How much do you guys think it's going to be? And maybe just a really quick why on that. Anyone?
All right, 150, man. I'm gonna say 150, and I know to some people out there that's gonna seem a little bit high, but at the end of the day, it's a new piece of hardware. I think that's a good kind of like in between point. An all digital system, you know, you can play your games digitally. I do have some questions, like when it comes to an internal storage, how big that would be. I know, I have a fear that it's not going to be a lot of internal storage, and they're just going to be like, well, you can plug in the external, because they've been all about, you know, external hard drives with the Xbox One, and I think they might continue to do that. I'm hoping they put more storage like under the hood, but I gotta go 150, man.
Yeah, and even people in the chat are already like, I feel like with this generation that we've essentially been trained to use external everything. You know what I mean? Everyone has an external hard drive that's a hardcore gamer. Everyone realizes there's not enough storage. These companies are marketing externals specifically to the Xbox. You know, Seagate is really capitalizing on external SSDs that are called game drives and stuff like that. So there are companies nowadays that just realize that the demand for external hard drives warrants them advertising it specifically to gamers. And I feel like with this generation, we've just been trained essentially to use external stuff. And even in the chat, we've been hearing people be like, oh, well, you can buy an external disk drive and maybe that'll work if you get a diskless console. Like, no, don't do that. Like, stay away from that. Like, you know, I agree with you, Xbox. I think $150 is probably the sweet spot, and if they can get it lower, then it's gonna sell even better. But
another thing, Inferno, because you're talking about how we've been trained to use externals, and I definitely agree with you on that. But again, going back to like the name of this all digital system, all that good stuff, you gotta have people that work at Xbox be like, you know what, we've gotten the shitty end of the stick basically how many times this generation? Why not, you know, have more storage under the hood, make it easier for, you know, like IGNs and GameSpots to report on it and not be like, well, yeah, there's only so much storage, you know, because some people who might not like the Xbox brand, who are in, you know, the business of talking gaming news, and there are people like that out there, they might kind of just like temporarily forget about externals and use that as a down point, you know, to talk about the new system coming out. So I think they should cover all their bases and give enough storage in this thing, man.
Good point. I think storage is, especially like spinning hard drive storage, not necessarily SSDs perhaps, but spinning hard drive storage is so cheap nowadays at retail. Like they've got to be getting that stuff for so cheap if they buy it in bulk and, you know, wholesale from the manufacturer. It's just, you know, K-Mega says give options. I mean, I think, I don't know if they can have more than one SKU on this thing with different storage device sizes. I'm not sure that's necessarily a smart thing, but
well, with the options, then you can talk about external, saying, you know, whatever external hard drive you have, you can just plug it in there. But make sure, I would think, me personally, I'd be like, make sure there's enough underneath the hood that if for somebody out there doesn't have an external hard drive, you know, they can go and pick this thing up and start downloading games and not have to think about another piece of hardware that they would have to spend money on. They would just, you know, pick this up and be ready to play.
Mm-hmm. Agree with that 100%. Clowns are assassin on this price and reason why, maybe.
In a perfect world, it would be 100, but it's not a perfect world, so I'm thinking 150. If it's like a 2 terabyte storage, I would say like 200, just because, you know, greed or something. But like somewhere around those lines.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. That's crazy, Assassin. 2 terabyte, 200?
I mean, I wouldn't put it past them.
You use the G word, and you got to be honest. When it comes to business, you know, there is a certain amount of greed out there. I don't care how pro-consumer somebody thinks a certain company is. At the end of the day, what they want to do is they want to make as much money as possible. So, I mean, I don't necessarily agree with you, but I can see where you're coming from, Assassin.
I'm thinking 150. But I'm not sure how they're going to work out the storage yet. I think that's going to be like the real deciding factors, what kind of storage they decide to put in the base cheapest model possible they can get out there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, I don't know if you can necessarily compromise on storage speed. Like, do they just include the most bargain bin hard drives they can get? You know, obviously when the Xbox One S released in 2013, I don't think the hard drives were slow. You know, obviously we've seen recently that external hard drives and especially external SSD hard drives are certainly faster on load speeds, but not substantially so where everyone's going out buying a solid state drive. Some games you benefit more, some games you don't. I bought an external USB-C hard drive, SSD hard drive for my Xbox to see load times. Some games it's like half the speed, some games it's like a few seconds, you know? So I think they can get away with putting in not great SKUs for hard drives and get like really cheap ones just to drop the price on this thing, and the average consumer probably won't even notice, you know?
Like how fast do you think the hard drive has to be, man?
No, I mean nowadays in the Xbox One S, I don't think the One X, I should say. I don't think that they're 7,200 RPM hard drives. I don't know that for sure, but you know, the lowest that's like really commercially acceptable is like 5,400 RPM hard drives, and they're all working on the same, you know, SATA interface. So it's not like, you know, it's inoperable. Maybe they can, that's not the right word. They're interoperable. They can use, you know, a 5,400 RPM hard drive, test that out. They can swap them in and be testing this and see, you know, before putting it to run which I'm sure they've already done, but they can see what the load times are, the durability on some of them. Maybe they don't stick with the same manufacturer. Maybe they go to someone else if, you know, the price is wrong and they need to save somewhere, you know?
What I would say on this, without jumping to solid state, because I don't think they're going to do that, but what I would say on this is, because the focus is all digital, and somebody who picks it up is going to be thinking about, you know, game download speed and everything like that, I would kind of go for a more ramped up hard drive than even what's in the X, man.
But the price, dude, like what?
Dude, at the end of the day, like Microsoft, they open up their wallets. They're trying to see something out. So why not? They're testing this to check out the numbers and see how many people would get involved with a console that doesn't have a disc tray. Go all out, man. You got the money. You know, Satya, he is down with Xbox as a division of Microsoft. Do it right. You know what I'm saying? Don't half step it, or otherwise, you know, the numbers that you do collect, they're going to be kind of diluted or convoluted in that scenario. Like, if you're going to test something, do it right, man.
Mm-hmm. I feel you on that. I don't know, man. I just, we're all saying 150. I think 150 really is a sweet spot. I think if it comes out, it's 199. I mean, you can get a regular 1S for 199 nowadays. You know what I mean? That's not really a bargain. And $50, I don't necessarily think people are going to look at these things and say, oh, well, I really use my my disk drive, the casual gamer, so to speak. But if I'm buying this thing, like I watch a lot of 4K movies, I wouldn't want to only save $50 to not have a disk drive. It's got to be a sweet offering for me, and I think a lot of people do feel that way.
No disk drive and more storage, like right off the bat, right outside, right out the box. That's what I would think, man.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I would hope anyway. Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. The Geeky Nerd says people are going to pick this up for kids to play Fortnite. They don't need hard drive space, dude. I think the value in this could be way more than that, man. But I see your point, and maybe out of the get-go it is going to be like that. But I think a lot of people are going to be grabbing this as an xCloud box and grabbing it as like what Xbox was kind of suggesting. I agree with them, and that if they can convince people that you can use this at their second TV, maybe as an entertainment all-in-one option, and they are really into the ecosystem. They're really into having a lot of digital games. A lot of people are just trending that way these days. Some people are just going kicking and screaming, but a lot of people are trending that way these days. So. All right, so let's move off that in the interest of time. We talked about that for a while. Let's go to the next topic, which is, of course, Just Cause 4 making it to Game Pass already.
Woohoo!
The cheers from a lot of people are loud, but the naysayers are saying, boo, it's false hope. It's a AAA, but it was one that didn't do too well. The sales numbers were low. It's another Square Enix game, and we know that Microsoft has the relationship with Tomb Raider, and Shadow of the Tomb Raider came quickly to Game Pass as well, so don't get your hopes up. A lot of naysaying, but a lot of positivity around this as well, and I think that at the end of the day, me personally, I think that this is a great move by them, and I think it proves that they can get some AAAs in there quickly. Not day one, like a lot of people are hoping, but who knows now? Now, you can almost think anything's possible, in my opinion. What do you guys think? Was this more of a indication of Microsoft's ability to get AAA titles, or is this just a shot in the dark, a shot in the pan, and a game that wasn't selling very well, and they just snatched it up?
Go ahead, guys. I took the last two first, okay? Come on, guys. Get in here.
All right, I'll try. All
right.
Well, so because of this game, I'll probably renew Game Pass because I was going to let it go. But now that this is in here, I'll probably keep it, at least until I beat it. I love Just Cause 3. I was really excited at first about this dropping in there. I mean, I was about to go out and buy the game for like, $35-$40 right now that it's at, but I just paid $10. I could probably beat the game in less than 30 days, so it's pretty exciting. The only thing is, once I got into the game, it was kind of like a blah experience. It wasn't even as good as 3. Maybe 3 had all that sunshine, tropical feel. This one just feels like a bunch of snowy mountains at first, so I was a little taken back, but it's not Xbox fault, and it's the direction of Square Enix on this title.
I mean, dude, it's no illusion here. I mean, the game did not do well, so it's in Games Pass very quickly. I agree that that's probably has a lot to do with it, but maybe they can use this as a guinea pig. We're talking about Microsoft experimenting with different things here on the podcast already. Maybe this is a little bit of an experiment to show, there is a $30 DLC, kind of like season pass thing going on with the game. Maybe they want to use this as a test project here to show that the install base can be higher. Maybe people can be convinced to buy the DLC now that it's part of Games Pass, and that will net more income for the developer, for the publisher, all around. Everyone will win on this thing. That's kind of, if you think about it, that's kind of the theory with free-to-plays, right? Is that free-to-plays, obviously, you get the game for free, but look what Fortnite's done, look what Apex has already done. High install base, lots of people buying microtransactions, that kind of stuff. And I don't know, maybe this is a little test market here for some of these AAA publishers to closely look and see, okay, well, this game came after only 3 months, but a lot of people who would have never bought it, and a lot of people who would have certainly not bought the DLC are probably going to grab it now. What do you think?
When it comes down to this game, first question is, I'm wondering, why do people automatically think, well, the game just didn't do well? Like, first and foremost, I don't know what the developer and the publisher are saying when it comes to the numbers. I don't know what their expectations were. But why can't it just be when it comes to Square Enix, they see that there is a constant stream of revenue with having a game in Game Pass. No matter what, your developer, your publisher is getting money, either it's month to month or whatnot, but they have a constant stream of revenue. I like what you said, Inferno, about supporting kind of like the future DLC, like the game, a season pass or future DLC. If it's in Game Pass, then, the people who wouldn't have necessarily bought it might get into it, and then before you know it, they're buying the DLC for the game because it's in their subscription service. I think at the end of the day, we never really had a service like this on console. So for people to kind of jump the gun and be like, well, this is why the game is in here and not because of this, or this is why, we don't know. We've never had a situation like this before. So anybody who says they know exactly why, and they're not a part of Square, or they're not a part of the development team, or they're not working at Xbox, you don't know. We don't know. But I think it's a good move. I know I was excited. I downloaded Just Cause 3, which was on Game Pass, and I'll let you know right now. As soon as I saw Just Cause 4 was there, I uninstalled 3 and installed 4, and I started playing it today, actually. Nice. But this is great. And, if these companies want to go to subscription services, further on down the line, which you guys know, I've stated this time after time, that's where they want to go. That is their end game when it comes to PlayStation, when it comes to Xbox or whatnot. You're going to have to get third party in there. All right. And what's the first third party that's going to be there kind of like quicker than others? The ones you have good relationships with. And I think that's why, Tomb Raider and Just Cause 4 are in Game Pass now.
Absolutely. And, depending on how this turns out, I think more companies will potentially want to enter in a relationship like this. You made a good point about the sales numbers. I don't know the sales numbers off the top of my head. I don't know what kind of expectations they were thinking.
Exactly.
It's been like 3-ish years since the Just Cause game came out, so maybe it was. I know we were thinking on the last podcast. I think it was you, Assassin, actually, that was saying like when was the last game out, and I was like, yeah, this seems like it's too quick for Just Cause 4 to come out. Remember when we were talking about that, and we looked it up, and it was like 3 years ago, and I was like, oh damn, wow, I can't believe it was that long ago. It doesn't feel like that long ago. But companies, like Ubisoft with Assassin's Creed, take time off in order to get some more sales, and to break up the stagnation a little bit of just having a game come out every year, But who knows if the same was for Square Enix? Who knows if Just Cause 4 they expected to be this killer app, or a lot of people are saying, oh, Just Cause 4 is a lot like Just Cause 3. It's almost like DLC, or better looking DLC. But we don't know. We don't really know. And maybe somebody in the chat, I don't know where it is now. Somebody said, this is Shinsno Elite said, I'm sure they had the plan for Game Pass before it came out. Probably with the relationship they have, I wouldn't doubt it if they did. So, but
automatically, I think K Mega kind of said it in the chat as well. It just seems like nowadays, automatically, if a game goes into Game Pass and if it's earlier than what people expect, automatically people out there, social media and stuff like that, automatically the game was a flop, and that's why. Mm-hmm. And like, to jump the gun like that, I mean, without anything to back it up besides the fact that the game's in Game Pass and the fact that we never had a subscription service like this before, I mean, to me, it just doesn't make sense to jump the gun and be like, yeah, well, if the game's a flop, that's where it's going. You know what I'm saying?
Well, Xbox, in all fairness, they do have some facts and proof out there. It's that they have a PS4 with no Game Pass on it, so they're just a little angry.
Nice.
I'm gonna keep my mouth shut because I think we have a future topic where there's gonna be people out there eating crow when it comes to PlayStation and certain things about gaming in certain situations. So.
Perhaps, yes, perhaps. Yeah, I mean, that's a good point that you make on the fact that people just jump the gun and say, oh, it's bad, so it went to Games Pass. Look what happened, or Game Pass rather. I keep saying Games Pass naturally for some reason. Look what happened with EA Access, right? When people think that a game is bad, they say, oh, I'll wait till it hits the vault. You know what I mean? Like, that hitting the vault is like putting out to pasture, like it's a dead game or whatever. And then EA kind of responded a little bit to those kinds of criticisms and knocks on the system and released the EA Origin Access, the Premier membership, which is $100 a year and gets you games day and date, which is a nice little program. And I think if Xbox had something similar, you may see a lot of people gravitating to that if it had more AAA stuff. Obviously, with Game Pass, you get a lot of the Microsoft stuff day and date already, but people are really wanting those AAAs, man. Unless it's got AAAs, people hate this thing. It's crazy.
Well, you made a good point about the what's EA Access, right? Because a lot of people will say, "Oh yeah, Madden's gonna go EA Access because Madden sucks. Nobody likes it. Scores are down. It's the same thing every year." But you know what? That Madden Ultimate Team, man, that thing sells so well. So many people love that. They have tournaments every year. So I mean, it's a huge success. Mm-hmm. And yeah, it goes into the EA Access
and it still goes into EA Access.
Yeah,
right? Dude, I think what's funny is when people said, yeah, if, an EA game, flops, it's going to go into the vault or whatever. And then you look at it, pretty much all EA games at some point in time or another go into the vault anyway. So what kind of prediction is that really?
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
Like, it's a service that people are paying, monthly. It doesn't have kind of like the library that Game Pass has, but it is a substantial library from a very specific publisher. And there are people out there that they do swear by EA, especially when it comes to the sports, the FIFAs and the Maddens and everything like that. Believe it or not, there's actually EA fans out there, people that will just pay for the subscription.
I mean, I think pretty close to day one, I grabbed EA Access, and I'm still a member of that. I'm a member of Origin Access as well, not the premier one, but the basic one on PC. And I think it's a huge value add. And I think I think Game Pass already is a good value add. And, moves like this make it even more of a value add when you're seeing, AAAs, no matter how they do, obviously AAA quality, maybe not received as well, but, people are docking things in reviews for the silliest things nowadays. I mean, maybe somebody, with the Just Cause 3 comparison, I know a lot of people who have reviewed the game. I checked out the reviews because I was kind of interested, and people knock the game because it's too similar to the last game that people liked. You know what I mean? Like, if Just Cause 3 does well, and then Just Cause 4 comes out and it's similar, how do you knock that game for being very similar to the last game? You know what I mean? You dock it a couple points. Like, you want to dock it like half a point, fine. But you want to dock it right down to an 8 because it was too similar to the last game that was actually a lot of fun? Like, come on, man.
Brother, that's the thing when it comes to Just Cause. My bad, clowns. But,
that's all right.
Dude, I will let you know, one of the first things I did after completing the first couple missions, I saw a tornado in the distance. No lie. I spent like 20 minutes once I caught up with the tornado, just flying around the tornado with my parachute, with my like gliding suit and everything like that. To me, it's a Crackdown type game. It's a lot of fun to play. You don't take the story like too seriously. You go in, you blow some stuff up, you do some creative things with kind of like your hook with the balloon and with the jets, and you just go in and have a good time. That's what a game is supposed to be. I feel like this generation, it's got to be all moody and heavy story narrative.
Man.
Anybody to like go in and have a good time. But there's games that you just go in, blow up a bunch of stuff, do a bunch of crazy things, and just have a good time. And that's this game right here.
Yep, absolutely. The tether system is amazing.
Oh my goodness.
It's so much fun.
Yeah. Snaps was watching me. I was literally, people were shooting at me, and I was attaching the balloon to him and making him shoot up in the sky. She's like, "Oh, I gotta play this." Right off the bat. Yeah.
And see, that's the thing. You would never. Oh, I don't want to say never, Bob, but like I'm thinking you would not grab it, especially not this soon, if it weren't for this.
I wanted it, but I would have waited until. There was a discount, a nice sale or something like that, because, and that's something that Game Pass gives me, when it comes to like Crackdown. Now, I'm a big Crackdown fan. If I had to, if Game Pass wasn't there, I would have put the money on the game and then, talked about it with kind of like in back of my mind, knowing I put $60, on that game to play it. Mm-hmm. But with Game Pass, those fun games that they put in there that you could just go in, have a blast for a while, feel like you did a bunch of things, and come out with a smile on your face. I love having Game Pass for that, man.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Well, another thing too with Game Pass, and a lot of people overlook this or may not know this, but we talked about it previously, and I think almost every other podcast out there talked about this. Even Xbot made videos about this before. But the Microsoft Rewards program on Xbox rewards you for playing a lot of Game Pass stuff. So like you might get 600 MS reward points 1 month. So it's pretty cool that they do stuff like this. They're giving back to you as well.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And go ahead.
I was gonna say, Inferno, just real quick. Shizno, Elite in the chat. He said, God of War and Red Dead Redemption 2 basically ducked it up for us as far as scores go. And I gotta say, it's not the game's fault. I think we have had heavy narrative games pretty much ever since, we've had, let's say, an Xbox and a PlayStation. You know, earlier on, like there was an ecosystem where the lighter fun games can exist with the heavier narrative games, and they would kind of like, when it comes to review scores and people's opinions, it would be according to what type of game it is. It's this generation, I feel like there isn't like this moody, heavy, you know, story narrative in here. Like the game's just not that good. You know what I'm saying? Where before they were all able to exist in this huge space, and they were all kind of looked at according to what the game actually is instead of what it isn't. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, no, I agree. And follow that up really quick with this YouTube comment from Geeky Nerd. It was number 15 on NPD the month it came out. Not a good look in my opinion. And I mean, I think it came out in a tough time in December where you know, obviously people were buying a lot of games for the holiday that had come out in the months prior, and there were a lot of good releases, obviously. But not to make excuses, I think that lends to your point, Xbox, is that, you know, people just dismiss stuff like this nowadays. And the reason it was number 15, it could have been I strongly feel it could have been technically the best game to ever release. But because of the atmosphere it has, because of the setting, and because of, you know, the similarities to the last game, you know, people knock it for that. I feel it wouldn't have sold well anyway, because I think you're right. I think people, when it comes to single player stuff especially, you know, people just want the moody, dark, like deep storylines. I mean, people don't want to just play around anymore, you know?
Yeah, and it's unfortunate. I hope this is just a trend, and it's a trend that kind of dies off quickly, because there are so many games that I loved that was just kind of like, you know, pick up and play and have a good time. And then when I wanted to really get immersed in a story and kind of feel attached to, you know, the character I am, and get into that moody narrative, there was always games for that. I don't want every game to be that, or every developer trying to make those types of games either.
Yep, definitely. And I think, you know, a lot of people have Game Pass, even though some people who knock it still have it. And I think people are definitely going to download it because it is an attractive thing to have a third party AAA title coming so quickly, and people are going to grab it and they're going to like it. And, you know, you're all going to be thinking, wow, maybe I not necessarily you'll buy the DLC, but you're going to think about it, and you're going to think about, you know, what this could mean for games that you never even thought of coming to the program, and delve even deeper and see the value in this thing. Assassin, I don't think we've heard from you on this. What are your thoughts? Are you going to get into this? Are you thinking it's too soon? Like, is this exciting for the program in general? What are your thoughts on all that?
Well, I don't think it's too soon. I mean, if people think it's a flop because it came out so early, then they should be saying that to, like, Avengers Infinity War, right? It came out a few months after it came out on DVD to Netflix. So, I mean, that movie did not flop. It was probably one of the highest, you know, grossing movies or whatever of last year. So I mean the same thing could go for games. It's just a new thing for us now.
Wow, Assassin's coming in with really, really good metaphor, analogy, similarity. Wow, that was Xbox.
That's
was like,
a drop
ooh.
the mic moment right there.
Xbox was like, ooh. It was audible right there. That is a great point. A great analog. Wow. Dude, he's bringing the heat on this next 100 episodes. He's ready to bring the heat. He's starting 200 off right. Here we go. That's a really, really good point. I mean, look at Netflix. Do you associate, you know, all these Pixar movies that were coming to Netflix flops because they came to Netflix right away? Like, come on. Exactly. That's a great point. Or like if they come to HBO, whatever, you know, you get an HBO subscription, you can watch, like, you know, I don't know what's on there right now. I do have HBO, but I don't check all the time. But I remember when I first got HBO again, I was checking HBO. I was saying to myself, holy crap, like, look at all these movies that are on here that are recent movies. I'm shocked to see these on HBO. Are those flops because they're on HBO? No. Man, Xbox, you hearing this kid? He may be silent in the corner sometimes.
Dude,
but
he actually, for the first time, I think, on this show, Assassin just shut me up. Like, damn, that's a good point. He dropped the mic, and I'm just left here on stage like, oh my goodness, what happened?
Man, that was a good one. Yeah.
Dude, and when he said that, it actually, like, I thought about it, and if you look at it, movies, they are going quicker and quicker. You know, once they get out of the movie theater, they are going quicker and quicker, you know, to kind of like subscription services like Netflix and stuff like that. So obviously, when it comes to subscription services, like, there is revenue there for either, you know, the publisher of the movie, or as you can see in Game Pass, the publisher and the developer of the game. And I think as time moves forward, we're going to see more third party jump into Game Pass. And I'm actually excited because I've had Game Pass for like ever, and I don't plan on like getting rid of it anytime soon.
Yeah, absolutely not. I'm going to have that forever, especially like Clowns was kind of saying earlier in this topic, that, you know, you can essentially, with Microsoft Rewards, you can just like earn free Game Pass if you just do your searches on Bing or get a significant discount at least. So, I mean, if you're turned off by the price, I mean, they do have introductory offers. I think one of them that they're doing right now is $2 for 2 months, which is obviously excellent. And go look and sign up for like Bing Rewards and Microsoft Rewards. You'll be surprised how much money you can actually get off of Game Pass. But
I'm almost up to 8,000 points.
There you go.
And that's just from like 20 days.
Dude, my brother programmed a bot to do his searches and stuff. Like, it's just insane the amount of points he racks up. Like, he's telling me every week, he's like, dude, do this. Like, they have this promotion, they have this, they have that.
I gotta
like,
talk to your brother, man. I need that bot as well.
Oh my god.
Like, I can only search so much. So
I was proud.
iMacros?
Huh?
iMacros?
No, I don't know what it is. I don't really know. I'm gonna have to ask him. I really don't. If I knew, I'd let you know, but I don't. I'd let everybody know because it's an awesome thing, but I don't really know. Dude, I told him the other day, I was like, oh, I'm finally up to like 16,000 points, right? He's like, dude, that's nothing. Like, in the past couple months, I've gotten like 15,000 or whatever in like a month and a half. I'm like, oh, dude, how are you racking up those points, man? So Assassin, last word on this. Do you think that this is exciting, like a good thing for the future of Game Pass? Do you think more AAAs are coming, or do you think that that this is just like a shot in the dark here and they just already have a good relationship with Square Enix?
Well, I think they have a good relationship with Square Enix, but I do expect more AAAs to come out. Especially like those looter shooters like Division 2, or I was going to say Anthem, but that would be EA Access.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Interesting. Speaking of Anthem, we'll go right into that as our next topic here. Anthem's been getting a lot of bad flack here recently. I don't know if you've noticed.
I love Anthem, man.
Dude, listen, Anthem is good fun. Man, with all this other stuff coming out, I just cannot drop 60 on it. I think it is a lot of fun, though. And I think that if you're into that, if you try it out, if you have EA Access and you try it out and you like it, you should probably check it out for good, because I think there is a lot of fun to be had with that thing, even though, you know,
it's the gameplay, bro.
It's the gameplay. It is.
It is so addictive. It is so fun when you actually have people together that kind of know what they're doing, and you're stringing combos together. You're taking out titans and stuff like that, dude. It's a blast, man.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. And dude, these guys always say, get it. And dude, as soon as that thing hits like $40-$45, I am gonna grab it.
Inferno, you got to get it now because they're gonna patch the level 1 exploit when you hit 30.
Oh,
you gotta get
dude,
it now.
Are you using that, man?
No, we haven't used it. But it might help Inferno.
It might help Inferno. Oh, no.
Well, that's
Inferno. I think he's talking a little smack about you, man.
Dude, I don't know. When I had my 10-hour EA Access trial, I think I was carrying a little bit, but that's just me.
I don't know about that.
It sure didn't happen.
Yeah, I don't know.
Oh man. All right. Well, anyway, luckily for us, we're playing on Xbox. But PlayStation 4's. I mean, you guys alluded to that bug that was found with level 1 gear being a little bit stronger. Is it specifically one gun, Clowns? Is there
not a little bit? A lot.
The Defender, baby.
Like a level 30 masterwork gun might take like 6 hits to kill somebody. The level 1 gun, I think they said it takes less than 4.
Interesting. I mean, obviously it's getting a little bit of bad, and in a looter shooter like that, people take those things very, very seriously, even though they're obviously going to patch that out. You know, once people find that thing, that kind of thing goes viral, man. That thing just like blows up.
Oh, hell yeah.
But earlier in the week, actually, I think it even started last week, people were having a lot of problems with Anthem on their PlayStations, and as of now, they've identified it as a problem. They recognize it. It's affected like 2,000 people at this point. Confirmed cases of the Anthem shutdown issue that you're experiencing on PlayStations. If you've experienced it, let us know in the chat or in the comments below, or hit us up on Twitter and let us know exactly how you experienced it. But apparently, a lot of people are having this issue where on the PlayStation, the game will just shut down your PlayStation. You can't turn it on from the controller. You have to hard reset it or whatever. And some people thought their consoles were bricked because they couldn't even start their console. But I guess on Reddit, there is now a little bit of a workaround where if you start the console in safe mode and rebuild the database, go figure, you have to go do all this, you can get your console back essentially. But geez, I mean, this game came out to bad reviews. People were knocking it for poor performance on PC. People were knocking it for poor frame rate on console. People were knocking it for only being like 12 to 15 hours of gameplay, saying the end game's no good. And now you've got something like this. I mean, where does it end, guys? Where does it end?
Well, Inferno, I gotta ask, why is it the game's fault when it comes to this issue? Like, the last time I checked, games had to be certified for a certain platform, had to be tested out, all that good stuff, and that usually falls on the people who make the platform. So that would actually fall into Sony's ring. I don't understand why it's like EA and BioWare's fault if the systems are crashing like that, man.
Interesting point, because I haven't seen a lot of people blaming Sony for this. I've actually seen nobody putting the blame on Sony before now, because I agree with you. I mean,
well, I would say, do I make sense there? Like, there's a certification that goes. So, like, Sony should have caught this before this game was released on their platform.
Absolutely. And if you're compromising the integrity of up to 2,000 people, I mean, of course, in the light, of seeing that compared to the install base of the system, obviously that's like a mere fraction of a percent, but at the same time, it's enough to get people going on Twitter. And even I can't remember if it was Jason Schreier or somebody else who said like they witnessed their colleague that had the quote unquote brick. I mean, before the Reddit solution came about, people legitimately thought that their consoles were bricked. And that is like a scary thing. Like, that's happened to me on the 360 with the Red Ring of Death. That is like, not to sound like a nerd, but that is like an angry but also scary thing, because it's like, is this going to be covered under warranty? Is this going to be replaced for free? Am I going to have to shell out a lot of money? I mean, I've seen people say that it costs like up to $250 to get these things repaired. I mean, that's not money to sneeze at necessarily, So,
well, from what I hear, kind of like, behind the scenes on YouTube, because all us YouTubers, we kind of talk in back rooms about certain things. I'm hearing that the memory that is kind of used for the operating system, there isn't a solid separation between that and the memory that's used for the game. All right, on the PlayStation platform, I heard that there's other games that have done this as well, not to this extent though. Because when you look at Anthem, it's a highly demanding game, no matter what platform you're playing it on. And with this one, it just kind of magnified a certain situation when it comes to the PS4. Now, you guys might be, I think you're a little more technical than me. So does that sound about right? Because that's what I've been hearing kind of like in the background, that the OS, the memory that's kind of like allocated to run the operating system, it doesn't have a solid like separation between the memory that the game uses to run.
Clowns, that makes sense to you? Oh,
and he disappeared on us. He ran away.
He was like, I'm not interested in that question at all. when it comes to that thing, I'm not going to place blame on that. I mean, that makes sense, right? I mean, Microsoft at one time got a ton of flack for having, multiple kinds of memory, and one that kind of dictated I think we just lost the Skype call, as a matter of fact. Hold on a second here. We did. We legitimately... Let's join back. Let's join back. We are back.
Oh, okay, he's back.
We are back. We are back.
I'm Inferno. Xbot, you are 100% right. I can't believe it. You are a genius. Okay.
Yeah, we lost it for a second there. I don't know what happened. Sorry about that. But we are indeed back. But yeah, dude, remember when people were knocking Microsoft for having essentially a dedicated portion of their console's memory and processing power for running the OS, and now you're seeing stuff like this that could be potentially due to the fact that, you know, Sony doesn't have that kind of separation?
Well, they both came out and said that they have a certain amount of memory that's allocated for the operating system. But if they kind of did on Sony's side, and I'm not saying they did, but this, like I said, this is what I'm hearing. They kind of did a half-assed job of separating what they needed for the operating system and what they needed to run the game. And every once in a while, like there would be an issue when it comes to the memory, and like the system would crash, and you would have to hard reset your console. I mean, to me, it sounds like it could make sense. I haven't looked into it like in depth yet, but I definitely want to. But I kind of figured, you know, Inferno and Clowns here, maybe you guys, like off the top of your computer brains that we all know you had installed at some point in time, you would let me know if this sounds like it could be legitimate.
Yeah, Clowns is usually on top of this thing. I'm surprised he didn't have a comment on that.
Yeah, I think it's legitimate. But I think a lot of people just get scared when they see something like this. So their first reaction is just to call and complain. But I think typically if you were to do like a factory reset, rebuild the database, it may fix some of the issues, at least for some of the people. For the other people, it might just be overheating the PS4s and then crashing and then corrupting certain system files.
Dude, no joke. My PlayStation sounds... I mean, it's always operated pretty normally. I can't, you know, knock on wood. It hasn't had any problems yet, but I mean, in some games, I'm like worried that I can hear him over my Astros. Like, the PlayStation just takes off like a jet engine, and if you have one, you know exactly what I'm talking about. But I guess the later SKUs of the Pro have kind of alleviated a little bit of that. But if you were one of the early adopters, you definitely know exactly what I'm talking about with the PlayStation. It's super loud. But Assassin, what do you got on this, man?
Well, any problems is just unacceptable. I think BioWare should have done a better job QA testing it, making the game, whatever. As for the gun being OP, even for level 1, I mean, we've seen other balance issues. Just look at the Gjallarhorn Destiny 1, Year 1. That thing, like, if you were looking for a group to play with and you didn't have the Gjallarhorn, you couldn't play.
You couldn't play. Nope. Mm-hmm. And see, Assassin, you bring up a great point there when it comes, because I even, with talking about the crashing, I forgot about the whole kind of like gun situation. It's amazing how people can get all up in arms. I feel like because there is such kind of like negativity going on with Anthem now, anytime something comes out, people are going to like complain times 10 about it. But when you're doing these kind of like looter shooters, there's always like these little bugs. There's always something to kind of take advantage of the game and kind of get better drops or kill the enemies quicker, which get patched over time. My only problem here is where EA and BioWare are deciding when people find out how to like farm something or something like that, instead of doing kind of like what Bungie would do and like, yeah, we're looking into it, but letting the gamers kind of take advantage of that for a while before they cut it off. I feel like that kind of that gets the gamers kind of like in the developer's corner. Yeah, no, we're gonna fix it. But they let people play with it for a little bit longer. I feel like that's something within a looter shooter that just happens. So it's not a big deal with that whole level 1 gun thing. I know they're gonna patch that and take care of it. I just feel like BioWare and EA might be a little too harsh on people who find like the certain like farming sequences and stuff like that in the game. Half of the fun in those games is finding a way to farm. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I feel like they got to lighten up a little bit, and I don't think that whole level 1 with the defender. I believe the weapon's called the defender. It's an assault rifle. It's actually one of my favorite guns, to be really honest with you. But I don't have the level 1.
Oh, it sounds like someone's got that level 1 equipped.
I don't have the level 1, people. But when
hold on a second. As well. I didn't see it earlier, but I just got a pop up on my streaming software saying that there was a YouTube server connection issue. So I don't know. Yes, Mel says stop talking crap about Anthem. That's probably what we get, right? EA's coming for us. Talk about being too harsh, right?
I was gonna say, you know what actually happened was when I actually brought some common sense to the whole crashing thing, and it was like, well, where was Sony with their certification on the thing? Yoshida heard that, and he called.
Where'd he go?
Yeah, I feel you on that, especially after our when we talked about Game Pass not being on there too. I mean, probably 2 strikes right there.
Yeah, one more, and we're out of here.
You guys are ridiculous.
I think it was Chief Chief in the chat who said that only Nintendo does that certification. I know what you're talking about. You're talking about the original NES, and you're right. They had to have that gold emblem, but nowadays, all the platforms, the games have to go through a certain certification. If you follow like any type of gaming news, you're following a game that is being developed. They hit a certain point where the developer is like, yeah, we're just going through certification. If it's multi-plat, they have to go through it for PlayStation, for Xbox, and Nintendo if they're putting it on the Switch or whatnot. So it's something that every company does when games are hitting their platform now.
Mm-hmm.
I just want to throw that out there.
Yeah, no, good. It's good point. It's a good point. And it sucks that once, at least in today's day and age, I feel that once you get one bad impression on a game, it's just downhill from there, man. Like especially with this Anthem thing, like it can't catch any breaks, even though the game is a lot of fun. You know what I mean? The game is a lot of fun. I feel like it's tough for them now, especially when the Division comes out, dude. Like, I feel like it's got to do something quick in order to kind of attract, a wider audience again, because I feel like when Division comes out, a lot of people are going to bump off Anthem, and these small little, annoyances that are going to get fixed with patches are just going to be fodder for people that are looking to go on to greener pastures, It sucks.
Well, BioWare, they have a patch. I think it's scheduled for the 15th of March, and it's going to take care of certain things like the white and the green loot drops for people who are like level 30. They're going to do away with those, so you're no longer going to get those. The patch is supposed to take care of that.
Mm-hmm.
The whole level 1 defender kind of like weapon glitch is going to get fixed as well.
Mm-hmm.
I hear in April they're going to add another stronghold. In May is when they're going to start doing kind of like the new cataclysms, which if you follow the game, those are the storms with the like it's what the Heart of Rage is.
Yes.
If you follow the game. Now, if they have random cataclysms like springing up on the map, and you and your friends have to go in and take care of that, and possibly get some awesome loot with those kind of events, the game's going to be fine.
Yeah.
All right. At the end of the day, I'm more interested in Anthem because over Division 2, and it's because I'm not necessarily just a looter shooter fan.
Yes.
I'm a sci-fi fan, all right? And so the world of Anthem actually caters to me more in what I like compared to Division 2, which of course is almost like that, just barely post-apocalyptic, people taking over Washington, D.C. is a lot more kind of like military-wise, where I like the sci-fi. I like getting into a mech suit, flying around, striking people with lightning and stuff like that. That caters to me as a gamer, and that's why I still lean more towards Anthem than I do Division 2.
Mm-hmm. I think actually a lot more people than we think are leaning in that direction as well. So I think the diehards that are, you know, fans of the lore and fans of the setting, like you just said, are gonna stick to Anthem, aren't necessarily gonna leave. But I think that they will be fine in the end, but they just need to have something ready to go, like that patch you're talking about. They need to like push that literally as soon as possible, because they just need a way to keep the people on the fence over on the Anthem side. And I think there's a lot going for Anthem, and like people are saying in the chat, saw these games saying Anthem is still fun with all of its issues.
Oh yeah,
totally agree. But I think that a lot of people on the fence are going to see Division 2 come out from a really reputable company that's already done it with Division 1 and already gone through the fixing phase. I think Division 2 is going to come out like balls to the wall and really come out blazing. So
the couple betas we had for the Division has had a lot of hiccups and glitches and stuff like that as well. So
the audio was blazing on the beta, I'll tell you that much.
That is true. They did have some audio problems, but dude, I don't know. I'd be really shocked if Division 2 came out with the kind of problems Anthem's going through, like crashing systems and
well, my Division 2 crashed like 3 or 4 times, and my character went through the ground on the first mission. Just like fell through the ground.
No.
So yeah,
we just got a naysayer. Assassin, we got a naysayer here.
Inferno, are you a Division fan? I got to ask, because it seems like
he didn't like Division.
I didn't like the first. Yeah, I didn't like the first one. I didn't like the first one.
You're starting to sound like my buddy Butcher Van over there. Like,
oh yeah, he's huge into it. Yeah.
He is a Division kind of like junkie, and he's like, I can't wait for that to come out. He's like, all those glitches. He was like, don't worry, they should be taken care of. I'm like, I don't know, brother. I don't think you're gonna see the crashes, and the reason why, like, I played the Division betas, right, and it looks great. But when you hold graphically Division 2 over next to Anthem, they don't compare. Anthem is a way more demanding game. Mm-hmm. Way more. It demands a lot more from your system than Division 2 would.
I mean,
let's be real.
Yeah, I agree with that. 100%. And Anthem does a lot of things that we've just never seen before, especially in these type of games. Definitely never seen before. I think the verticality needs to be, you know, presented more as a big deal in the game, especially marketing to people that aren't used to that in a looter shooter. Like, I feel like the marketing on Anthem wasn't too great in showing that as a huge advantage. And I feel like even in the game, like, a lot of people are using it just to traverse more than they are as using it as a tactical advantage. I mean, obviously, I don't own the game. I played like the 10-hour trial on EA Access, and that was essentially it. And I rented it. For Redbox, I had a free birthday rental, so I grabbed it and rented it. Played a while, but like the verticality really is such a huge like differentiator in strategy and stuff. Especially like with those, what are they called? I don't even know the names, but those big enemies, the really big ones, the
Titans.
The Titans, yeah. Even with those, like the verticality, especially with my Ranger Javelin, like I feel like the verticality is what helps me a lot in that situation. And I feel like a lot of people,
you gotta go Storm, man. Storm Javelin all the way.
Really?
No,
really,
don't listen to
Storm, man.
No. At the end of the game, at the end of the game, Storm gets crushed all the time. Sorry, Xbot, I don't want to crush your dreams, but
I will be the best Storm out there. Then let's put it that way.
Well, then join me in Assassin. I'm Masterwork Colossus 492.
Oh damn. Damn, man, I got work to do. Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, I can carry you through some Grandmaster 1s, no problem.
I might take you up on that proposition, man. I definitely I don't know. I like Anthem. A lot of people are spelling doom and gloom, and you know, there has been a lot of like negative press out there, but I'm leaning towards being confident that EA isn't going to scrap it. Like they kind of have to go with it just to see what happens over time. And I feel like this is going to end up being a great game. People are going to look back at the launch and be like, do you remember when Anthem did this? Like, look how far we've come now.
I think the problem is, Xbox, I think people wanted Anthem to fail because they wanted another Mass Effect. I think that's the problem.
Oh my goodness, man. I mean, you know what's funny about this? Like, and I think this is a general kind of like gaming community type thing is, you'll have people like when it comes to 343, you've had people out there say, well, why can't they make something other than Halo? All right. So you look at like BioWare and they're trying something new. They're trying to kind of like broaden their horizons here with a more kind of like games as a service, looter shooter. They're trying to bring their story element into the whole looter shooter thing. And people just turn it down. Like, no, I want the games you made before. Like, what do you want? Do you want developers to try new things and really kind of broaden their horizons, see what works, what doesn't work? Or do you want them to rehash and make sequels to the games that have already been successful? I mean, you can't have both all the time, and you got to let them do what they got to do. I'm down for creativity, man. I'm liking what I'm seeing from BioWare so far.
I think the world is so big too. There's so much potential in it for them to just keep adding stuff. I can't wait till we get more strongholds and different missions. I think it's going to be great.
Another stronghold in April, and then the Cataclysms in May. I think May. Anthem is really going to blow up. I think the Cataclysms are that big thing, kind of like when you look at Destiny 2 and you see the raids over there. That's what I think the Cataclysms are going to be for Anthem.
That's going to be so much fun.
Dude, I think it's going to be crazy, man.
Man, before we get off this topic, I just want to say, by the time May hits, Division will be balls deep in Anthem anyway, so it won't even matter. So,
and you know what? Everybody's going to be max Division. Like, oh, where's the end game? I'm bored of Dark Zone. Yeah, where's the end game?
All right, Cons, like 40 hours later, though. That's the thing. Division has 40 hours before you get to that. And then, they have some PvP modes. And like you said, the Dark Zone, there's like so much variety. People aren't going to get sick of that, dude. It's going to be another like Ubisoft title that's like sneaky successful, man.
All I got to say is how many gamers are out there in the world? How many gamers are out there in the world?
Just two.
Just two? All right. Yeah, then we're screwed. But
you know what?
With over 2 billion gamers out there, I think 2 games can coexist.
No, yeah. I mean, in this genre specifically, I mean, there isn't like too much competition. I mean, like fighting games, shooters, and some of those genres and subgenres in those areas, like there is a lot of competition. But looter shooters, I mean, honestly, like there really isn't that much competition, and this is so different. I mean, you want to compare it to Destiny a little bit on the sci-fi, sure, but then again, it's third person. There's a lot of verticality. There's a ton of differences between this and Destiny. So,
well, I mean, Destiny is more of like an MMO light, right? Yeah. Like you're not going through the same things, but doing it on harder levels to get better drops and stuff like that. Where Anthem is kind of like your classic MMO. Made by BioWare. So there is a story underneath it. For the people out there, it's like, oh, the story is generic and everything like that. I think you only ran to a certain couple people, in Fort Tarsus and just tried to really push along, and you didn't listen. You didn't engage with everybody on the side, because there's this whole world in Anthem. And if you listen to these people, you're like, wow.
But no, like, I'm not compelled because they don't have a big enough impact in the story outside of that Fort Tarsus. It's kind of like the same problem with Destiny. Like, those people don't fly up.
World building, man. World building. You got to build it up, brother.
They got to do it for me, dude.
Actually, that is, I can't say it's false completely, Inferno. There's some truth to what you're saying, but what Xbox said is also correct, because I went through, after I beat the game, I started talking to all the side people, and my decisions and my advice to those side people affected the actual outcome of who they stayed friends with and how they contacted authorities and things like that. So, I mean, there's some truth to what Xbox saying.
Yeah, it's typical BioWare right there for you, huh?
There you go. And what did people want? People wanted something typical BioWare in this game. And it's there.
And they try.
People ignore it. And people ignore it.
But, Inferno, when you go on Division 2 and you go into the cutscenes, your decisions and your speech and everything that you do is useless and futile in the world of Division, because it's going to play out anyway.
Hey, well, that may be all good, but at least those people in the Division story like fight alongside you and join you outside of outside on the battlefield, unlike an Anthem where it seems like everyone just stays in Fort Tarsus and has the merry old time for themselves.
I don't know, Inferno. I'm starting to read between the lines with you in Anthem compared to Division 2. And I don't know what's going on here.
Butcher, let's go, bro. Let's go, Butcher, man. Let's go.
All right, I think we got it out of Inferno tonight, man. 200th episode.
He's a Division 2 fan.
There we go.
Let's go. Let's go. Real quick before we move off this topic, just really quick to the YouTube chat. Shizno Elite says, I think Anthem is more like Diablo than Destiny. Decent point there. Decent point. I mean, it's, you know.
Wait a minute. You were a huge Diablo fan, Inferno.
Yeah, no, trust me. And Diablo,
you're not an Anthem fan.
Yeah, well, I mean, what do you want me to say? Diablo has more than 10 hours of gameplay, and you know.
Well, Assassin and I have gotten at least like 80 hours worth of gameplay so far out of it.
Yeah, you guys have beat up the same enemy like 50,000 times already. So
well, to be fair, there's only like 2 enemies. Right?
Inferno's gonna be like, yeah, and to be fair, how many hours do you have in Sea of Thieves as well?
Yeah, how many hours do you have in Sea of Thieves, Assassin?
A lot.
How many hours do you have in Sea of Thieves, Assassin? How many?
I don't know. 2.
100.
Yeah, okay.
1,000.
Well, if he's got 2, then I got 4.
Yeah, I was gonna say 4 too.
I'm gonna look. Let's see. It might take me a little bit, but there you go.
I don't think they. I think they took the hours played on Sea of Thieves away.
Well, let's look. Sea of Thieves.
Why would they do that?
Yeah. Before we move on to the Switch topic, I want to take one more thing in the chat. Daniel B says the loot doesn't suck ass in Diablo. Yeah, and actually you can see the loot when it drops instead of having to wait to get to a loadout screen or get to the forge.
Is that really a big deal? Is that really a big deal?
Well, I mean, I guess it isn't because you pick up everything, right? It's not like you don't pick it up.
Well, when you see you got a masterwork, now you're excited to like finish that level and see what you got. Of course, you're going to be happy in some instances, and you might be disappointed in what you got in others. But to me, that's never really that big of a deal. You know what I'm saying? Like I used to get exotics in Destiny, and I used to have to go to the tower to get them decrypted to see what I got.
Right.
So it's all about the fun with your friends too. Don't forget that, Inferno.
What are those?
No, it's a job, brother. You punch in, you got to do the work, you got to reap the rewards. It's a job. It's not a game.
Well, I gotta say something real quick on that. You know, Assassin and I were reaping some rewards in the, what was that mission? At Cilio's Stronghold mission. Man, I really reaped some rewards. Assassin?
Oh my God. Anthem was giving them like a little something on the side on that mission. And everyone else is just like, we're just that third child that no one cares about.
I
got
5 Masterworks and 2 Legendaries.
Dude, that's one of the great experiences about looter shooters, though. Like that makes a moment that you remember. Now, Clowns is gonna remember it like very kind of like fondly. You know what I'm saying? Assassin, every time he thinks about it, he's gonna be like, "Fuck you, Clowns."
Yeah, he did. He's like, "I'm not picking you up. I'm gonna stand right here.
I'm not picking you up. You're done."
And just use emotes like the wave one and be like, "Hi."
Yeah.
All right, let's move on here. We're running a little bit behind, but I expected that with Xbox, so no big deal. Let's move on to the Nintendo Switch section of this podcast, which we'll get through kind of quickly, I feel. So Nintendo Switch.
No, it breaks my heart.
What do you mean it breaks your heart?
Are we talking go ahead, say what you're...
No, I was going to say...
Let them build it up first, man. Do a little inquiry into what we're talking about, and then your heart can be broken.
Yes, let me build this up. Right now, this is just a quick little intro here. You know, Nintendo Switch, anniversary month, 2 years out already. It seems like it was just yesterday. But in any event, it's been in the news. There's been a few news topics, some serious, some not. So which one do you want to get to first, Clown, since you were about to say that it breaks your heart?
The Game Pass coming to the Switch maybe a little bit longer than we thought.
Okay, let's get to that. Let's get to that really quick. Let's get to that. So, Game Pass to the Switch seems like, man, is it even going to happen at this point, bro? Like, I feel like the perfect opportunity was now to have it happen, and now what? We're going to wait another year for this thing to come out on Switch?
Well, I'll tell you what. I'm going to get my ass on XDA and GBA temp, and this is what I'm going to do. With the Linux and the Android ports going to Switch that are functional, if they make an xCloud APK, I'm going to hook that up on my Switch. I'm going to get with my friends over there and be like, make this happen.
Put in the work, right? Put in that work. It looks like full steam ahead, though, for other platforms. Not necessarily PlayStation like we're showing here in this diagram, but they still want to bring it to TVs. They want to bring xCloud to TVs. They want to bring xCloud to everything. But according to multiple inside sources, one specifically being Brad Sams, of course, saying that what he's been hearing is that Games Pass not going to be probably even this year for Nintendo Switch, but anything can happen. But now that the writing is kind of off the wall, so to speak, what Xbot or Assassin, you think this is you think it's going to be too little too late
No.
Next year, or do you think even next year it'll be exciting?
Go ahead, Assassin.
I think it'll still be exciting just to get some like games that maybe Switch players will never play. Like, maybe for us, it won't be exciting.
Yeah, but in 2020 now, like 2019 was perfect timing.
Like I said, like for like people like us, it's not. It would have been more exciting this year. But for like someone who just plays Nintendo, everything, just constant Nintendo, won't play anything else, and then they get this. Like, I still think people would still be excited. Next year or whenever. If it comes, people will be excited.
Yeah,
Okay.
I got to agree with Assassin on that. And the thing is, like, if you look at it, when it comes to xCloud, because this is something that I think a lot of people out there, when it was first kind of like the rumor was announced, and the gaming community on Twitter and social media started going crazy about it. You got to remember, it said powered by xCloud, right? xCloud is being tested this year. So it can be tested with tablets and cell phones, even within kind of like the Xbox platform. People who are already invested in, if they're going to test it out, see how it runs, really get it, put the feedback in, get it running smoothly. But when you're going to put it on something that is so gamer-centric, like the Switch, you don't want to put it there in a test form. You want to put it there after everybody's given the feedback. You have it running smoothly and all that good stuff, because that's all you need is a Nintendo. A Nintendo gamer is like, you know what? Let me throw in on Game Pass. Let me try these out, and the service is garbage at that point in time, because they have to like iron out all the kinks and the bugs and everything like that. So it would make sense that they would put it on the Switch after they did all the testing. That makes sense to me.
Okay, so obviously everything we've heard about the Nintendo Switch getting it has all been leaks. They haven't officially come out and said, the Switch is definitely getting it 100%. I mean, they've alluded to, Phil Spencer especially has been alluded to it being on quote-unquote everything, right? He wants to get it on all platforms possible, essentially, to expand. I think it was in an earnings call of some sort that they said that they want to essentially expand the coverage of the Xbox ecosystem to like 2 billion people, and the way to do that is to get it on essentially everything.
Yeah.
But the thing that worries me is that what if smart TVs get this thing this year, and then people on Switch are waiting until next year, when all the publicity has been it coming onto Switch. Then you got these Nintendo gamers maybe being a little more averse to it coming, and maybe companies or developers that thought that they were going to get their stuff on Switch through Xbox now may like release ports or whatever before it even makes it. Like, who wants to play? I think Saltiest Gaming in the chat just said like an Ori or a Cuphead port. Like, let's say Cuphead, right? Who's going to want to play a Cuphead on Xbox Game Pass through xCloud if they can play it already this year as a port? Well, like, go ahead. But
that kind of helps them wait that year. Like, from what I'm hearing, there's a chance that, you know, a port of Ori and Ori 2 and Super Lucky's Tale could be going to the Switch to run natively on the Switch.
Okay.
All right. And that'll be kind of like the first taste of an Xbox game on the Switch. But then with xCloud, I know you say it on the Switch, like it running on the Switch. I don't look at it like that. I look at it like you have the availability of an Xbox platform on the Switch, because inherently, when it comes to Game Pass, the games aren't going to run natively, but they're going to be streamed to your Switch. So in all actuality, I look at that kind of like you have the Xbox platform available to you through streaming on the Switch, which to me, that's a huge difference. You know what I'm saying? And at the end of the day, you don't want those gamers there like testing it on the Switch and then being like, yo, this is garbage, and never trying it again. Where with the television, you have people who are on Xbox, you know, who are testing xCloud, also testing it on their television, also testing it on their phone, on their tablet. I think it stays more of a more closed in kind of like testing zone, but with multiple devices than if you put it out there on
like a portable, for instance,
like on a device that, like, you know, a lot of gamers are playing on, that might be, just like I said, Nintendo fans don't really mess with Xbox. You want to put that there when everything's kind of like fine-tuned and xCloud and the streaming is running smoothly. That's when you want to put it on there. So this way they'll be like, maybe I should now pick up on the console. I'm having fun playing this game. You know, with streaming, you are going to have some type of latency going on there. I don't think it's going to be incredibly bad. From what I'm hearing on Microsoft side of things, they have so many people who have been working on lowering the latency for streaming for years now, for absolute years. They feel like they have solutions. They're ready to show them, put them out there. But of course, they got to be tested first, man.
See, the thing with that, like the other side of that same argument, I think would be, okay, so xCloud is a central hub at the center of somewhere, hosted on a server, and these things are just ports to dial into that server, and they're just windows essentially into that server to play the games over there. So why? Like, I see what you're saying, and I do agree to a point, but why would it be so difficult to fine tune it on one versus another? You know what I mean? Like, why don't you think people on Switch are going to be jealous if it essentially could be the same experience on their thing? Like, it's not necessarily going to run worse on a Switch than it would on a TV, right? Because the cloud is what's doing all the work. This is just a window anyway. Like, it's a screen, so it's essentially a window to the same room. You know what I mean? Does that make sense?
Yeah. No, I hear you. I hear you, but like, we got to look at what this generation is. Like, we got to look at kind of like the community of gamers out there. Now, me and you, Inferno, we talk, Clowns, Assassin, we all know each other, and I can say, like, we're all kind of like on the hardcore spectrum when it comes to gaming. So when it comes to something to test, whatever device, I think we are a little more flexible. You know, but if a more casual gamer that has a Switch hears, oh, I could play Xbox games on here, I'm gonna try, like, I'm gonna put that on here and check it out. They're not thinking like, I'm gonna test this. So if they have a bad experience right out the gate, they just got, you know, they won't go back to it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I hear you on that. That's a good point. Especially with
you
people,
also get word of mouth and all that good stuff, and it starts snowballing then.
Yeah, especially nowadays when we're getting the word beta thrown into what's essentially a lot of cases demos, right? If it's really close to release, and you know, people are having bad experiences but just blaming it on beta, like,
yeah,
same kind of dynamic there, because that's happened in the past, like with Titanfall 2 and a few other games where the beta didn't do too well, the demo didn't do too well, and then people that weren't expecting it to be buggy kind of, you know, got a bad taste in their mouth and didn't buy the game. So that's actually a good point. That's a good point. I'll take you up on that. I'll take you on that. Clowns or Assassin, anything you wanna throw in here? What about what we've been talking about, or do you think that
I'm clicking on that petition, by the way.
Click on that petition.
Yes.
Click on that petition.
Yes.
petition
Do it.
makes you lose brain cells.
Your dreams will come true if you sign that petition.
What he's saying is your nightmares will come true. Right?
Assassin's nightmares will come true. That's everybody else's dreams.
There you go.
Let me share this on Twitter as well.
Oh my god, so much shares. Where's the report button?
Well, that's Xbox Game Pass on Switch then. Obviously, nothing is definite. I just think it would have been, a nice opportunity personally if, obviously Microsoft is, when it comes to conferences, it seems like with the news we got about EA not having a true conference this year as well, I feel like Microsoft's going to be kind of more alone than we initially anticipated up there on stage. I think if they could have announced something like this would have been, potentially icing on the cake, or could have been, that top layer of cake of their presentation, if you want to put a metaphor on it. But
I was going to say, I know Assassin doesn't have a Switch yet, and since we're not getting Game Pass on the Switch, I'd be willing to sell him my Switch for 700 buckaroos because it's the modifiable version.
Well, I'll give you 7 cents. I like that.
Assassin, you gonna take him up on those 200 buckaroos, or what are we thinking?
700
cents.
Oh, 700. 700s. I'm sorry, 700. No, that's a no-go on that.
I'll buy it off you, Clown, for $1. Then I'll raise my my price.
Well, let me go find one on AliExpress for like a couple cents then. I'll sell it to you for $1.
Oh.
Wow. All right, well that's that for that news. I was gonna talk about Turok, but we don't have time for that. You just look at Turok's description, you'll see that it's essentially the same as what it was in the N64 days, which is really
Inferno?
weird. Huh?
Did I do it again?
What?
Did I stretch the show out again, man?
You always do, but we expected that, and it's episode 200, so who cares, right?
Nice.
Let's get to that last topic of this special episode. We appreciate everybody in the chat sharing it out, giving it a like, getting people in here. The chat's been great tonight, and hopefully, as we go on to more episodes, you guys make a return to the podcast. I know a lot of you guys are regulars that are in the chat, but some of you guys are new, and I appreciate you guys dropping by. And I'm gonna talk a little bit at the end of the show about a few changes that I think we're gonna experiment with making, and talk about maybe a giveaway to celebrate 200. But before we do that, let's talk about this. So, Nintendo finally dipping into the VR.
Oh no, here we go.
All right, Nintendo's finally getting into the VR, right? They've got this VR Labo, right? So if you guys aren't familiar, Labo is, essentially cardboard boxes that you put together in special shapes, and they actually sell it for a ridiculously high cost for what it is. But so the starter pack for this, the Nintendo Lab starter set with blaster, is $40, but if you want to get the complete kit, the whole VR kit that comes with every add-on and all that, it's $80, and it's actually a decent deal if you want to go that route, because the add-ons themselves are $20. So if you're gonna go all in on this, I would say go for the $80 if it's your thing. But me personally, dude, this isn't VR. Like, how are they gonna compete with this? This is silly shit, right? I mean, what do you think?
Yeah, well, you got to remember, like there, I see it. It's bright. It's colorful. Of course, it's cardboard. I don't think that the Labo really kind of like worked out when they first brought it out. But I'm looking at this, $80. It's got all like the add-ons. If Samsung can do a quote unquote VR experience with a cell phone, Nintendo can pull it off with a Switch. And I feel like this is going to cater to a lot of kids out there, which I don't know what they're going to do in terms of kind of like eye development with children and all that good stuff when it comes to like having the screen so close to like a lot of kids' eyes and stuff. But I can see this selling. I'm not going to lie. I can see this for once, a piece of cardboard that Nintendo is coming out with. I'm gonna say it's gonna sell. It's gonna sell.
Xbox.
It is.
Xbox.
It is.
Clown, you're a little doubtful on this. What do you think?
I'm not saying I like it, but I'm saying like I'm looking at it like business side of things, and there's a lot worse things they could have done with cardboard, and I think they already did that. and now they actually put it together in a package that people are gonna buy. People are gonna buy this, dude.
Oh yeah.
I think if this was cardboard amiibos, people would buy it. I think in 5 months from now, this thing will be in the bargain bin for like $40. Oh, I'm sorry, no, the cheapest one is $40. Okay, so maybe like $15-20.
Man, I don't know. The Labos are decently holding their price up until now. I think this is probably the most compelling one, honestly.
All the stores around here just clearanced out all the, I guess, former model Labos, whatever they were, for like $30 or less.
Really? See, I haven't seen that. In my area, the Labos are kind of selling, and they're not really...
Cheap-ass gamer posted it.
Oh, really? I'll have to take a look at that. Every time I've gone into like Best Buy or whatever, I don't actively look for these things. That's the thing. So,
that's the problem in front of you. You've been going to Best Buy to look at this. They'll sell you anything over there.
Not everything.
You just walk. Any blue shirt guy will try to sell you anything. Pack of gum. You stand at the soda machine. Can I help you? Can I help you? Oh, would you like this cherry Coca-Cola? Oh, did you try this new orange Coca-Cola? No. Get away from me.
Dude, I'm wrong here. Butcher Van is saying Labo at his stores too at $20. See, I haven't seen that at all around here.
I don't know, but after what I think it's Danielle said in the chat,
yep.
I feel like extra dirty right now for some reason. Like I feel like I need like 3 showers. It's you see that in the chat?
I see that, and especially with you can get really creative with some of these Labo.
Oh no,
dude! Look at that elephant one, or that one with the blaster. Like, dude, if you wanted to get right in there and be interactive with that VR porn, I mean, maybe. Wow. Crazy Greek dude says, "Come to Colorado. Best Buy doesn't work that way around there." Yeah, I mean, it's not really like that around here. They are kind of pushy, but not like to that extreme. But
well, I wonder why in Colorado the Best Buy employees are not, always up on you. They're probably too busy in their own headspace. Be like, yo, look at the ceiling.
Colorado is elevated. I'm just saying, they're elevated. Yeah. Above sea level,
sea level, baby. Above sea level.
They're probably sitting there like, yo, you talk to him. No, you talk to him. No, I want to eat my burrito, guys. No, you go. Woody
says, Daz, is that your son in the pic in the yellow background? Does that look like Daz's son? I don't even know what Daz's son looks like. I'm gonna have to look. Also, one thing I did want to get to is Crazy Greek dude wasted no time calling me out on something I just said about this thing. He says, how is it not VR? And the reason I think it's not really VR is because if you look at what is being sold as VR right now, like granted there are head units, there's the Daydream thing from Google, there's the Galaxy VR, there's the Oculus Go. There are ones that are portable. But if you look at those, like the fidelity of the image that those can produce and the frame rates, like true VR to me, and maybe this is just my personal definition of it, but for me, true VR has to hit those high frame rates to make it realistic, like lifelike. And you hear about people nowadays, well, maybe not nowadays, I shouldn't say that, but definitely at the onset of like PSVR, at the onset of Oculus, HTC Vive, when some of the performance issues were there and the games did not hit those really high frame rates, people are getting sick, man. That's what makes a lot of people sick. And because it's not lifelike, What's up?
I got an answer for you though, man.
Please.
All right. When it comes to that, you look at this, there are experiences kind of like, it looks like they are tailored to this VR Labo, right? Just like I got to throw back the cell phone thing. Like if Samsung can make VR experiences with their phone, I think we can all agree that the Switch it's more powerful than a cell phone. Can we agree to that?
Okay, fair. Yep.
All right. So it will be possibly those types of experiences kind of like bundled together into one game, and it'll give, people out there a reason to try it out.
Okay.
And, I've seen a lot of people at least try out and from time to time go back to the whole kind of like Samsung VR thing with their phones. So I don't see why that wouldn't work out here. Like I said, my only concern is there any issue with like kids' eyes, eye development? Because I know that's a big thing when it comes to the heavy machinery. When you look at like the Vive or the Oculus, even the PlayStation PSVR, strictly says that this is not intended for kids under 12 years old.
It was a 12, yeah. I was gonna say 13. I have seen that warning on mine as well.
So
yeah,
I mean that's the only thing. That's the only question I have. But if somehow, some way, if like the cell phone kind of like VR experiences don't really have that warning, and there's no real concern there, I don't see why it wouldn't come over to Nintendo. And with Nintendo having like their people building experiences, you get like Mario experiences, you'll get like Zelda experiences down the road and stuff like that. I don't see how this won't sell.
It's gonna be so basic though. Like for the Galaxy ones, like they were giving those away and people didn't want them. You know what I mean? Like I hear what you're saying. I do see people.
But they didn't have Nintendo's name on it though,
yeah,
brother.
True. I mean, I guess we have to wait and see what the content is like. But
Dude, they came out with a cow milking game. A cow milking game.
That is true. That's a good point. And obviously they're all in with the cardboard accessories, like furthering your experience with it. So, you know, it's obviously they have things drummed up that they think is valuable in terms of unique VR experiences. So, you know, maybe we should just wait and see until the content comes. But I know Assassin, for one, has that Samsung VR, and I know he's a huge fan of one of those famous adult entertainment sites with the /VR at the end. Am I right?
No, but I'm kind of interested in trying it out whenever I get a Switch.
Sure you are.
No, don't shop. Just to now, just. Never mind.
Yeah, did you look at porn? Just admit it. You looked at.
I'm not interested for the Nintendo Switch VR because of porn. I'm just interested to play, like, I don't know. It just looks fun, you know, not the fun you're thinking of.
Yeah, it sounds like you're in for the fun. Yeah, it sounds like you're in for the
fun.
Assassin's
going to be that dirty gamer on the Switch, man.
Oh boy. What would you use it for, Assassin?
What, the VR? To play a game or whatever that comes with that. Obviously. It's on Switch.
He's like, I want to be an elephant. That's what it is. He's going to get the $80 one. He's going to do the elephant cardboard.
Well, don't put it past him because he streamed Zoo Tycoon and got like over 50 people watching it.
Dude, Zoo Tycoon is a great game, though.
I know it is, but I can't believe how many people you got watching.
Dude, I could just imagine like Assassin grabbing the $80 version with the elephant one or the blaster one, literally like streaming it, getting tons of viewers, and like I can just imagine like the shtick would be like this big like 6'4" beast, like with this thing attached to his head, like flailing around the room. Like, oh my god, man! Like
if colorful cardboard and everything.
Oh my god, dude!
Smacking the walls.
And there's like no way to like. Well, I don't know if there is, but I can't like. I don't know what the way would be to capture what's actually being shown on the screen. So literally, his stream would literally just be him just moving around the room, being like, "Oh, if you guys could see this, oh my god, you should see what I'm looking at right now." You know what I mean? Like Jesus.
I think we should start a fund, and
yes.
we should buy Crap Gamer a Labo VR.
He has a Switch?
Yeah, dude, he's got all the consoles. What are you talking about?
Oh, dude, I didn't think he had a Switch.
Oh yeah.
Oh my god.
And you know about him with PlayStation VR. He absolutely loves it. So, I mean, that'll be a way. He says he never takes his Switch out of the dock. So maybe this is the way to get it out of the dock. You know, he has to put it into his goggle unit. Come on.
There you go.
There you go.
Wouldn't that be very uncomfortable to hold?
Some kids have really big heads, though. I don't know.
Wow. I can just picture that being like annoying to hold after a while. Like 20 minutes in, you're like, it was cool for the first 2 minutes, but why am I still holding this ugly box?
Develop your neck muscles, man.
There you go.
There you go. Yeah, that's true. Didn't think about that. That's a selling point.
Wow.
I'm telling you guys, this thing is gonna sell. It's gonna sell. I think it's gonna surprise a lot of people. To be really honest with you, if there's anybody out there laughing at this, wait till it comes out,
dude. April 12th, baby. April 12th. Get in line and get yours.
I will be laughing on Twitter.
There you go.
Well, you know, with all those annoying people at Best Buy, they're like, "Hey, buy this. Hey, what are you looking for? Some? Buy this. Hey, did you need cardboard to move? Buy this."
Dude, ever seen these sheets of cardboard? I mean, imagine if they like look at the box and they see like all the elephant thing and the blaster, and they're like, "That doesn't look like they can fit in that box." And they're like, "Oh no, it's cardboard. You gotta fold this out. You gotta actually make it yourself, bro. It's like Legos." But anyway, joking aside, I mean, it could be cool. Like, I just can't believe that this is what they're like breaking into the VR craze with. You know, it would have been cool, I think, if they did VR with kind of like some of their existing games, added modes to like Odyssey or like Breath of the Wild or something. But I feel like we're gonna get this, and just by the look of it, man, like the colored boxes, like Xbox saying, and the elephant trunks, like I just feel like there's gonna be like just watered down garbage. I don't know why. I'm already preparing for failure for some reason.
I gotta disagree. I think this is gonna be something, man. And I actually think the bigger question with all this is who would have thought, you know, with Microsoft having their AR headsets, you know, through kind of like Acer and I believe HP and all that good stuff.
Yep.
Who would have thought out of the big three, Sony, Nintendo, and Xbox
is last, yeah,
will be the only one that is not getting into VR right now. Who else is upset about that?
I think they know why, though. You know, to be honest with you guys, I might have said it before. I don't know if you heard me, Xbox, but I had a chance to go to this thing called Orlando iAccess Press, and I got a really awesome opportunity to meet Chance Glasgow, who was one of the founders of Infinity Ward, and he's really big into VR right now with his company Roomy VR. And he was explaining to everyone at the convention, and he said that VR is not really ready for primetime gaming until it hits at least, the very least, 90 frames per second per eye.
See, that's the thing. That is the thing I'm worried about. You know, at least for like genuine experiences on VR that are meant to take advantage, like full advantage of VR. Like, are these just going to be cute side games that have VR elements, you know, or are these going to be genuine experiences that give you like 360-degree movement in VR, kind of like the Vive, you know? It could be just like cutesy stuff that just has this VR element. It's like, oh, you know, that's cool. Like, you can look down at your feet, or like you move your head around, like with the blaster thing. Like, are you going to actually be rotating 360 degrees, looking up and down and everywhere to shoot? Or is it just going to be in front of you and you're just going to be moving like left a little bit, right a little bit, down a little bit? You know, if it's that, then you don't really need 90 frames per second necessarily. But clowns, that's exactly what I was talking about earlier that makes me worried, is that there's no way the Switch is getting 90 frames per second. So what are these experiences going to be like? You know,
they're gonna be Samsung VR, man.
That sucks, though.
And he said that the biggest hiccup for VR right now is that it's still too gimmicky for video games. It's really not at the point where it's feasible, and you're going to hit a lot of sensitivity with people because a lot of people are going to be sensitive to lower frame rates per eye. They'll get sick, dizzy, and there'll be people that can stand it, of course, but a majority of people out there, especially even went into eye conditions, that would be a little bit affected by it too. So I think he's right on the money, and I think Nintendo's just selling this gimmick. And this reminds me of the times when we grew up as kids, Xbox and Inferno, where we had those little red things. I don't know if you remember them. You stick them up to your eyes like goggles almost. Thick red things, and you had these little circular cartridges you stick in it. They like click master.
Yes.
Why didn't go to new frames each time?
Yes. Yeah, I mean, go ahead, Bob.
Yeah, no, I don't remember that. I'm trying, unless you guys were more privileged than me. But,
did I get cut out?
No, you're good. You're good. It sounded like you backed away from the mic for a bit, but we heard you. It's fine. No, I remember what you're talking about, Clowns. It was like a film reel almost, right?
Yeah, I think it's called Viewmaster.
The Viewmaster.
Yes, that was it.
all right. I know what you're talking about. You
That
hit
was-
the yellow switch, like click, 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 click.
Yep, that was the best 3D gimmick ever as a kid. Remember?
Yeah, you know what? That's a good comparison you make, Clowns, because that's about as much
Dude,
time
I had,
as you're
like,
gonna be spending
4
on the
of them.
Labo.
I had like 4 of them, and I only used them like when we first got them.
Yep.
Yep.
And then I would lose one, and then a new kind of like either Star Wars or Transformer thing would come out, and I'd be like, I need another one.
Yep. That was it.
Yo, for real.
Assassin never got to experience that joy.
Nope.
Nope.
And that's why his picture looks the way it does right now. He's just looking at us.
Sad.
Like, I
Yeah,
can't believe
he's a sad man. He's gaming sad. All right, I think that's gonna do it for episode 200. Went a little long, but like we said already, expected that with XBot. Guy brought the heat yet again. As always, when do you not? Appreciate that, man. Honestly, it was a joy having you here during this, during this last episode for us. Not last episode, but episode 200. I don't know why I said last.
Yeah,
but
don't say last, man.
No,
You got
not
a lot
last.
more in your tank, brother.
Not last. But yeah, we got a lot more coming. We are gonna make a few changes to the show. We're gonna probably keep it a lot shorter than 2 hours in the future. I'm thinking like segments. I'm thinking
Dude, did we actually go 2 hours?
2 hours,
Yeah.
5 minutes.
What?
Yeah, yep. 2 hours.
Dude, it felt like a half hour, man.
I
Really.
know.
So much fun.
It flew
Yeah.
by, dude. It flew by. That's the good thing about having, guests like you on, man, and like, make a week where there's like hardly any topics into like one of our longer episodes, which is crazy. But we appreciate everybody in the chat coming, enjoying the show with us. We're going to be doing a giveaway to celebrate 200. Look on Twitter for that. Our Twitter handle is 4GwQPodcast. If you're not already following, you should. We're more active on there. I think we're going to be more active on there in the future. So look out for a giveaway. I'm not exactly sure. I know we did for episode 100, we did a $100 gift card to your platform of choice. Could we be doing a $200 gift card? I don't know. It's yet to be determined, but we will do a celebration giveaway. So look out for that. But yeah, lots of changes. We'll detail those in the future, but I think we're gonna, roll with this new layout that we've been experimenting with for the past few episodes, and I think it's working out really well. I think you guys are responding well to it. So, XBot, why don't you tell?
Really good, brother.
Why don't you tell everyone? Thanks, man. Why don't you tell everyone where they can find you?
Of course, man. I try to keep everything simple. First off, 200th episode in the bag, guys. This is a legendary gaming podcast. If you haven't done it yet, you definitely need to subscribe to this channel. You need to follow these guys on Twitter. I want to see you guys. I want to see the buzz for 4 Guys with Quarters go through the roof going from now until the next episode and beyond. Guys, I have a lot of love, a lot of respect for you guys. You guys inspired me to kind of think outside the box when it came to, doing a gaming podcast. I let everybody know that this show is the inspiration for the next podcast. And I can't thank you guys enough for putting that footprint out there, man, because I know you can see it. Like other people out there, they have stepped up their game when it comes to podcasts, putting production value and all that good stuff. And this is the home of that, people. This is where it started. So huge shout out to you guys. 200th episode. 200 more are coming right behind this, man.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, no, follow me on Twitter, xbot448. My YouTube channel is the same name, xbot448. Even my gamer tag is xbot448. So if you know those letters, those numbers, you can follow me wherever you want to follow me.
Hell yeah, man. And if you guys look in the description, you're watching this on YouTube, in the description right now, you'll find links to find Xbox content. Definitely go check those out. Next podcast definitely is one of my faves, and it's now a Tick affiliate. So, of course, like I said before, we thank Tick for allowing us to be an affiliate and be amongst some great podcasts. Obviously Next is a good one. Also, like the original Next Level Gaming podcast with my man Stinger and Mike Mullis over there. And Fastback, HDK, those guys have a great show. And yeah, but anyway, for our stuff, you can also find us on iTunes, Spotify, Stitcher, all that kind of stuff.
iHeartRadio.
iHeartRadio, that's a big one. I keep forgetting that one, damn it, and that's one of the big ones. I don't know about MySpace. We'll have to work on that. But yeah, so just search 4GwQPodcast. You'll find us. I'm gonna look into maybe changing like how we upload to those, because I think I can record the podcast at higher quality now with this new software. So we're gonna look into that. And Clowns, you want to really quick give a shout out to our new podcast that we're doing here that you host?
Yeah, so every 2 weeks or every month, depending on our schedule. And by the way, we're sending Maverick to the South Carolina Comic-Con. We got press passes.
Nice.
4GwQ presents a variant podcast where we talk about pop culture, comics, comical influences in video games, stuff like that. And we do have guests on from the industry. We just had Ruth Redmond was our last guest. She's a colorist on Spider-Man and a few other things from Marvel. Now working at TKO. We're trying to get Ron Lim on and a few others. And, in the future, I know Xbot was a huge fan of Spider-Man. So we'd love to get him on sometime.
Oh, my goodness, man. When I heard when I just heard the couple people you have planned on, I'm like, oh, man, these are big shows, dude.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we'd love to get you on sometime and pick a comic book artist or penciler or anybody, and we'll try to get him on that episode with you.
Todd McFarlane.
Oh,
that's gonna be a big one. That's gonna be a big one.
Yeah, that guy's so busy.
Dude, I gotta aim high, man.
There you
Todd is an incredible artist, man.
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, he is.
Absolutely.
He is.
Well, yeah, look out for that stuff from Clowns and Maverick. Assassin's been putting out a lot of content on his YouTube channel, and also been streaming a lot recently on Twitch as a recent affiliate. So, Assassin, you want to go ahead and shout that stuff out?
Yeah, if you like live streaming content, follow me on twitch.tv/EPCI_assassin. I stream every day. And then I put those videos over on my YouTube channel in parts for you guys to watch if you couldn't catch the streams and stuff.
Cool. Usually in the mornings, though, right? What time do you usually start?
Yeah.
Like 8:30ish Eastern?
I start at 8 a.m. Central Time and usually go to 11. I've been trying to figure out some other later streams, but nothing has been catching on recently.
Later streams. I thought about Assassin After Dark.
Assassin After Dark, baby, with his new Nintendo VR Labo.
I was just gonna say,
Yep. With the elephant one, he's gonna be using that elephant, what do you call it, trunk to do some ingenious things. Maybe get inventive, create. Yes, very. We're not going to be able to see what's on the screen, but we can just use our imaginations, perhaps.
Yeah, all you hear is sounds, and you got to imagine what's going on.
Every once in a while, you just get like a really quick view. That would be actually a really catchy and interesting stream, Assassin. Like, the screen goes dark for 50 out of the 50 out of the 60 seconds, and for 10 seconds, you actually do get to see whatever you're doing with the elephant Labo VR, and then it just goes dark again. All you can hear is the sounds. That would be actually kind of cool. Let's think about doing that, Assassin. Let's think about making that happen.
First off, I need a Switch and all the other stuff.
Yeah, but that's coming soon. You know that's coming soon.
Suck a lot.
That stuff's all coming soon. That stuff's all in the pipeline, so don't worry about that.
And vote for Pred.
No.
Wow.
What?
Wow.
I mean, we got to give a shout out to Predator when it comes to like the next podcast with the gameplay and everything like that. He always brings fire, but I bring the forest fire with my gameplay. Though.
There you go.
He's got like the fire in like the metal trash can.
Mm-hmm.
All right, I got the forest fire. So you vote for Xbot is what you do, okay?
Dude, you should like every season you should change the tally. How do you do it with tallying like the wins and stuff? Like what do you do at the end like with the numbers?
I'm trying to think of something to do kind of like at the end of the season, because we just adopted seasons this year.
Yeah.
Every year is going to be a season instead of being like, episode 1472 or something like that. I was like, man, we'll reinvent it every year, kind of change up the look and stuff like that. You guys know me. I'm only good with the look of something for a little while, and then I switch it up. Yeah, but I want to do something at the end of the year, or possibly, give something to the panel members as well, like whoever won the most throughout the year.
Yeah, like a trophy or something. That'd be dope.
Yeah. I want to do something extra. I haven't decided exactly what I was going to do, and if my panel would actually get gameplay in on time, it would be a lot easier to do stuff like that.
Yeah.
But sometimes I have to be creative. I have to dig into the archives of stuff that they sent me before. And I'm like, all right, we'll bring that back out, because that was some really good gameplay, and we'll put it back out there into circulation. But they gotta send it to me on time, man.
Dude, no trophies, no gifts until they cooperate. You know what I mean? You gotta hold that over them. You gotta dangle that carrot.
Okay. I'm gonna start doing that now in the DM, by the way.
There you go. All right, that's it for episode 200. Next week, episode 201, we'll see who joins us in the fourth chair. But for this episode, that is a wrap. We will see you guys next week. Peace.
Peace. Switch VR.